murder you now or later.
Good hello, I'm Bub Beasley, and tonight Over the Edge is diverging from their usual format of modern noise to bring you a special forum on today's most controversial musical style, currently vying for the suicidal minds of our pierced and studded youth. Sometimes called black metal or death metal, this is the modern spawn of heavy metal music now sweeping the cultish fringe of musical acceptability, which, if the lyrics were intelligibly discernible, would make modern rap lyrics look like a laundry list of Sunday school cliches. Devoted to Satan's majesty and the occult, black and death metal blows its sneering musical snot all over both scientific rationalism and the hallowed superstitions of Christianity, to form perhaps the most radical guitar revolt rock has ever attempted. Tonight we're going to expose what this music is all about within the comforting safety of academic debate, so that you, the ever more confused and value-challenged public, can make up your own minds before it's too late. This is the Black Death Debate. And with me tonight are several guests to discuss this topic. We have Santo Gold, a collector and connoisseur of black and death metal. Pastor Richard Sealand, known as Pastor Dick. He is assistant pastor at Happy Land Calvary Baptist Quick Stop Drive-Thru Youth Worship and Wrecking Service in Pleasant Tomb, California. Did I get that right, Pastor?
No, you didn't get it right, Bud, and I think you're fully aware of that. I think I know where this is going. I'm actually the head pastor at Faith Fellowship in San Ramon and director of Sunrise Kiddie Fold and Daycare as well, which is on the church grounds. And just so you'll know, Sunday's coming, and we would like to extend our welcome to you. We have Sunday school at 9:30 a.m., or if you want to drop by for church, we have an early service at 8:30 and another one just like it at 11 o'clock.
Well, thank you, Pastor. I'm sorry about that introduction.
I'll bet you are.
I got my notes from your secretary, Muriel. Is that wrong?
I don't have a secretary named Muriel. I haven't for many a year, but thank you anyway.
I assure you,
I
Pastor.
think we'll move on from there.
That's who. Are you calling Muriel a liar, Pastor?
I did some time ago, but that's another story.
All right, well, let's move on. Also tonight with us is Harold Camping, veteran broadcaster on Family Radio, and finally a typical unconcerned citizen, the weatherman. Now, Harold, how are you?
Good evening. We're okay over here.
Very nice to talk to you tonight.
Just very glad to be on the show again. Thank you.
I want to thank you all for coming, and let me begin with Santo Gold. Now, Santo, you collect this music, this black metal and death metal music. When did you first discover it, and what attracted you to it?
Well, just a few months ago, I was reading an interview with the Japanese noise artist Merzbow, Masami Akita, and he recommended a few of these artists, and I tried them out, and they were great. From then on, I went nuts. It was black metal first, Norwegian stuff, a lot of murders and killing, church burning surrounds the scene, and then from there, you know.
This music began, when would you say, early 90s?
Late 80s. In the U.S., the death metal scene was kind of starting in the mid to late 80s. In Florida, but it kind of follows from Napalm Death in England in the early 80s, called grindcore. There's many subgenres here: the black metal, doom metal, grindcore.
And as you mentioned, there has been some actual real life murder and mayhem associated with these bands and this music. What can you tell us about that?
Oh, some interesting murders that happened, some very fascinating murders. One guy from the band Burzum murdered the main guy from the band Mayhem, who was kind of a black metal leader of the scene in the 80s. Drove 6 hours with his friend, attacked him with an axe or something like that. So he's in jail for 21 years, and his music is actually good. You know, so it's stupid and crazy, but you know, there's these guys in Norway. There's not much sunlight.
So would you say the worst of this music is coming from Scandinavia?
The worst?
The best, I mean.
Well, the black metal, the stuff they call in black metal.
Now, what's the difference between black metal and death metal?
The black metal is sort of overtly satanic, and most of it seems to be centered from, at least most of it's coming from Norway.
And we have so many examples of this music, some of it from Norway here tonight, and you'll be hearing that. Pastor Dick, would you like to mention anything at this time about this music? Where are you coming from, anyway?
Well, I'll go ahead. Thank you. First of all, it's really good to be here, and I would encourage all of you who are listening to the broadcast to stay right here. We have an exciting time of sharing and fellowship on the way, and I know you won't want to miss a single minute of it. Now, when I was asked to be a part of a radio debate forum to offer a Christian perspective on popular music, I gladly accepted. Now, many of you will recognize me from my 20 or so years in the Christian broadcasting industry, and you know that I've been very outspoken on the worldly nature of the adult contemporary scene. Now, I believe that adult contemporary music is one of the most destructive forces in our country and around the world today. Now, in the past, I've been highly critical of popular recording artists such as Elton John, Whitney Houston, Michael Bolton, Phil Collins, Taylor Dane, Bonnie Tyler, the Oak Ridge Boys, and many others who put out commercial products that appeal to the average 25 to 49-year-old buyer. Now, I believe these adult contemporary songs are far more significant than the music that we Christians more often criticize, such as the alternative and the gangster rap, the heavy metal, rhythm and blues, and other obvious forms of music that influences us negatively and are an abomination unto the Lord. Now, I often refer to adult contemporary music as a wolf in sheep's clothing, as it presents the same unbiblical message without the offensive beat. And its message is piped virtually into every supermarket and department store in America, and radio stations present it in a listen-at-work format. So all day long, we as adults are bombarded by soft, tingly melodies and lush toe tappers, which encourage premarital and extramarital sex, various forms of lust and materialism, ungodly principles, selfishness, and in some cases, out-and-out crime, such as Benny Mardona's hit, Into the Night, which promotes sexual activity with minor children, and Vicki Lawrence's The Night the Lights Went Out in Georgia, and Cher's Dark Lady, which are two #1 hits that both justify murder. Now, this, of course, is not why I'm here today, witnessing for Jesus Christ literally to the ends of the earth, thanks to the modern technology of today. It seems I've been called in to state my opinions on a more recent phenomenon, something called death metal music. Now, I'll tell you right now, I'm hardly an expert on death metal, In fact, I couldn't identify a single song or artist if I listened all day, which I wouldn't. So you may be asking, well, why am I here at all? Well, frankly, I'm asking myself the same question. From just the little tiny bit I know about death metal, I can easily determine that it is evil, it is wrong, it is bad. So why do we even need to debate the topic? Yes, sometimes the subtle message expressed in the world of popular music need to be pointed out, but the message in death metal music are not the least bit subtle in their graphic depictions of murder and dismemberment. I hardly believe that those who choose to listen to this kind of filth are going to think twice when I tell them that it doesn't honor the Lord, because honoring the Lord is the last thing these people would ever wish to do. The most I can do is warn parents and indiscriminate or casual listeners about the lyrics, which in most cases have been reduced to what sounds like a steady stream of grunts and growls. So, what I've done to kick off this whole thing is to bring in some genuine death metal lyrics to share with you. Now, I'm not much of a reader, so I am friends with somebody who is, and he'll be giving us his interpretation of these lyrics, strictly for educational purposes. And you know him as my friend and announcer, Mr. Dale Embry.
Thank you, Pastor Dick. You know, death metal music, no, not yet. Death metal music is a very bad influence in the lives of young people today. Its stronghold over weak mortal souls destroys lives and destroys people. It is so sad to see the despair in a young person's eyes and a young person's face as they deliberately reject God's teachings and play this angry and illicit music that causes grief for so many.
Well, that's very true, Dale, and you're going to put your years of broadcasting experience to work for all of us by giving us a clear and concise reading of the lyrics to these dreadful songs. Now, I'd ask right now, if you have children in the room, you may not want them to hear this. If you are a child who listens to death metal, however, what better way to confront them than to listen to the lyrics together, right here and now? So, if you do have a child, friend, or loved one who is into death metal at all, now is the time to fetch them into the room and allow them to look into their eye as the words in the songs are brought to life by my announcer, Dale Embry. And incidentally, we'll be doing this, doing what we can to glorify God through all of this. So, with this in mind, we'll be playing some of his music as Dale now presents the appalling lyrics of the death metal band, Wait, let me see what this is called. Pungent Stench. Well, go ahead, Dale.
I can feel the abhorrence of people showing for me because I am expectorating blasphemy. And I know that my look offends their staring eyes, so I run because they will treat me otherwise. Digging in the trash can for my food all day, I don't give a bleep what these people say. My parents have rejected me like a rat. That's the reason wherefore I hate Mom and Dad.
Accursed.
Night has come. Time is right for my disgusting plan.
Anguish.
I came to the window of my parents' sleeping room. With a chain I confine their bodies to the bed.
Black as
I
the
am
darkness.
sure this is the funniest night I ever had.
The bottomless
For my dad, I have an unbelievable surprise.
burn.
I just stabbed Mother's nail file into Daddy's eye.
Condemn.
Draw it out.
Curse.
Tear his eyeballs out of their smashed holes.
Damnation.
Digging with my fingers in his fester squiring sores.
Dark.
Screaming, he is lying in a pool of blood.
Demon.
But I am only laughing while I start to cut
Destruction.
well-readable letters in his sweating skin. Repudiating the sun is a sin.
Devil.
A dream came true. Too long I had to wait for my revenge.
End.
Out of the fear, he defecates into his pants.
Eternal.
Hell, what a stench.
Everlasting.
It is time telling Daddy now the last goodbye. When I
Beautiful.
ram the file into his heart because
Fiery.
he must die.
Fire.
Watch my mom. All I see is an infected slut.
Flame.
With my boots, I blanking kick her in her mother blanking butt.
Forever.
Slowly I dissect her torso with my fingernails.
Furnace.
Gluttonous, I start to eat her flesh and her entrails.
Harvest.
My head is
Indignation.
in her abdominal cavity.
Judgment.
I'm on my way to Mother's... I guess
Lucifer.
another word would be vagina. And suddenly, I reach the hole in my mother's uterus is torn.
Dishes.
Then I hastily gasp for breath. I am reborn.
Perish.
Troublesome, my body's creeping through the bleeding gash.
Punish.
Inside out, my skin is covered with organic mash.
Recompense.
What a treat. Life
Oh.
goes on for me. Now I'm free.
Tear.
Killing is the only pleasure
Torment.
for a freak like me.
Tribulation. The devil.
Well, thank you,
Beelzebub.
Dale. That again was my announcer, Dale Embry, with the words to the pungent stench song entitled Happy Rebirth Day.
That was one of the most horrific things I've ever had to experience in a radio studio, Pastor Dick. I'm shaken to the core, beyond any way that I ever thought I would be upon coming onto this program.
Well, thank you, Mr. Camping. I suppose we can chat about this and about a few other things later. I was afraid you might be. I think it's about time. I think I've taken up enough time here on the subject of death metal.
Well, yes, Pastor, as a matter of fact, you have. And, well, Santo, what do you have to say about this? These guys over here are haranguing against this music, which I see is fairly dynamic. Listen to this.
Yeah, I think that, it's the same old thing of, Elvis and rock and roll. And, how much influence can this entertainment have on people?
Isn't it all just fun?
It's just good fun for kids.
I think
And
so.
adults, too.
How many of these records do you have, Santo, at this time?
Oh, maybe 70 or 80 of them.
How long have you been collecting?
Only a few months, as far
Really?
as the metal. Yeah,
Really? So you've really been digging deep into this stuff.
very deep. I think it's a very creative genre that something Pastor Dick isn't really. I guess he's just not open to it.
Well, I want to tell you something right now. To compare this to Elvis Presley, and I'm not defending Elvis Presley by any means, because as far as I'm concerned, he started all of this. But
Elvis loves his mother. We all know about that, and we know very well that Elvis Presley would never have sung or written a song about dismembering his mother.
Well, that's why he was left to these other individuals to do so.
I beg your pardon?
What?
Well, some people would want to dismember their mother.
Well,
or they'd want to write a song about it, and this is the space where they'll do it within this death metal genre.
It is a bit disconcerting that while most rock and roll espouses things that no one has any intention of doing, this music espouses things which the bands have actually done. Burned churches, killed each other, eaten them. Who's the guy who ate...
No, it wasn't a guy in a band. There were teenage fans in Finland of the band Ancient. Murdered their friend, cut him up, cut his head off. A girl and two guys. Just regular heavy metal kids from the pictures I have here.
Regular heavy metal girls and guys.
Yeah.
I don't think there is such a thing, sir.
Well, that's
I
what
don't
they
think
look
there's...
like.
I can't say that I would ever use the word regular with any of the humans you have mentioned in that last sentence whatsoever. And
regularity is in the hand of the beholder.
Well, be that as it may, let us be certain that we are bringing the gospel of the Bible and not the gospel of, did you say Norway?
This is Norway, and they're mostly anti-Christian. I mean, this is a place where the Christians invaded, I guess, around 1100, and there's still a kind of an undercurrent of resentment against the Christians, I think, and that comes out in a lot of this Norwegian music.
It could be. As long as we focus on the basic fundamentals, the true gospel is absolutely common to every nation, and it makes no difference. Norway, Scandinavia, El Cerrito. It doesn't matter.
Yes, but
El Cerrito is divided 50-50 pretty much.
I just want to add here, these church burnings and murders are not isolated incidents. In fact, death metal in Scandinavia has been connected with the burning of many churches, and since 1992 there have been at least 40 to 60 church fires and near fires and attempted arson attacks in Norway alone. And roughly a third have documented connection to the black metal scene.
This is true.
Well, Harold, as probably the foremost authority on the Bible here tonight, since black metal or death metal are not mentioned in the Bible, what are we to do?
Well, I would actually dispute your sentence. If we look in Ezekiel 33:19, it's very clear, if you will allow me to read this passage.
Well, we would like to keep scripture reading to a minimum,
I
this case, go ahead.
I think Pastor Dick had plenty of airtime. I think it's worth me getting
You're
this
quite
out.
right.
And let's just ponder this for a moment. If when he seeth the sword come upon the land, he blow the trumpet and warn the people, then whoever heareth the sound of the trumpet and taketh not warning, if the sound come, and that's a trumpet we're talking about, and take him away, his blood shall be on his own head. He heard the sound of the trumpet, and he took not warning, his blood shall be upon him. So I would say that is as close as I could easily find by just opening the Bible and placing my finger down at almost a random passage. And you will see that there are many references to this music. It's an ungodly music, to be sure, but it has its roots right here in the Bible. It's been perverted in places such as Norway, Scandinavia, Iceland, and El Salvador.
In Florida as well.
Apparently so. I'm not the expert, Mr. Santo, but you seem to be. I'll defer to you at that point.
Now, Mr. Santo, there are many sort of offshoots of black metal and death metal. We have speed metal. We have, what is this?
Doom metal.
Doom metal.
What is that exactly?
What are some other?
That's more like a slower Black Sabbath inspired type stuff. A little more normal in sound.
Not a very helpful description, but...
And speed metal, of course, is just very fast.
Very.
What are we
Blast
listening?
beats, a lot of yammering.
What are we listening to now? What would you call this?
This is black metal.
Well, I can't make out a single word. I was
Well,
waiting.
they aren't saying any, Harold.
Well, there were some earlier.
The words are hard to read, hard to understand, but they're all printed in the lyric books.
Yes, we heard some from Dale there.
We did, but that's who knows where he got that.
Well, he said he got it from a Pungent Stench song.
No, that he did. I wasn't listening. I was off.
He got it
Santo,
where he got it where everybody gets everything, the internet.
So back to the killings.
Yes.
Well, these teenagers, they cut off the victim's head and limbs and removed some of his internal organs, including the victim's heart, totally chopping him up. And on top of that, as unbelievable as it sounds, I'm reading now from something I got from a website, they actually ate some parts of the body. All three of them were openly Satan worshippers and black metal fans.
What does a black metal fan have to do with it? Is
Well,
it any different than a white metal fan or anyone that's made of aluminum or chrome?
I understand that with the current power shortage, using a fan is less expensive than air conditioning, and in fact, the state of California recommends the use fans. I don't know
That's
if they
great.
have to be black.
My microphone is even up.
We've actually banned
I
black
think
metal fans
that's
on
ridiculous
family radio.
for you to say, but I don't think you're taking this seriously at all.
I'm trying to.
But, black metal is simply pushing the envelope of wickedness and blasphemy that's always been present in rock music. And even the Beatles, who were Sunday school boys by comparison to many death metal groups, were viciously anti-Christian and blasphemous, and thus did their part to pave the way for death metal. This is nothing, well, this is a new genre, but it's really nothing new. You can trace it back.
This is true.
So, Santo, then what you're saying is, I thought we were having a debate here, and I fully expected you to say that the lyrics I read were totally off base, but you seem to be agreeing that they're pretty much on the money by your description of the grisly murders that are committed.
Sure. That's this comes through in horror movies, vampire stuff. It's pretty old. It's just pushing the envelope a little bit further. I'm not exactly in sympathy with Christianity like a lot of the metalers, like most of the metalers from this scene. So it doesn't disturb me as it does you. And I don't think this means I've made a pact with Satan, although maybe I have.
Well, sir, I'm glad we're separated by this soundproof double-pane glass window that I couldn't smash through with my fist if I wished. I'm glad. That's about all I can say on that score, sir.
Well, we're both using protection.
We may be, but, you just dimmed the lights in there. What did you do that for?
This is to represent the metal scene, which is not always made by all the brightest people. The musicians that may be very musically gifted, we've seen the lyrics. The lyrics maybe are not always reflect a full bulb, the full use of power. Yes.
Yeah.
And Santo, I'm very interested in your opinion. What kind of person is drawn to this, or what about the music draws these individuals in to this lifestyle?
Well, I can only speak for myself. The negativity is very appealing. It's very exciting, and the musicianship is fantastic.
Why would that be? Why would the negativity be so appealing, Mr. Santo?
Well, personally, I find darkness appealing. Darkness, it's not really dark. I mean, it's happy, it's friendly, it's light. As you see the organs spurting out of the... I wrote a little poem here. This is more of a positive... I knew we'd get into something like this.
Well,
so let me this is my view of...
Come to a forum like this, you need to expect to show yourself.
An open forum here?
It is an open forum.
Okay, allow me to read my poem here.
I had to get it in there.
Caustic furnace lifts my burning soul to searing heights. Hot ashes soar even higher. Eagle's face sticks its ugly beak up my craw. Shrieking demons place bets on my survival. That's all.
So does that answer my question?
I would hope so.
I thought it was kind of
so
pretty.
off base, I forgot what I even asked.
I think it's kind of pretty.
What we were trying to figure out is what draws people to this music, and what makes this kind of negativity and darkness appealing.
Well, it's only part of the whole picture. There's all dark and light and everything, and a lot of this music focuses on the dark part of things, but that needn't be our whole lives.
Wicked. Do not tell me the grave ends at all.
Now, here's some lyrics. Santo, can you tell us what he's saying?
I'm sorry, I cannot.
Well, that's the curious thing about this music is the lyrics are really almost used as a sonic element. They aren't really there for meaning. And that's why I think Pastor Dick and Mr. Camping probably are overestimating the power of the words in these songs, because you literally cannot usually understand what they're saying.
Very rarely can you understand what is said.
Santo, do you believe that the fans of this type of music, those who are drawn in by it, do not have an interest in what the lyrics are saying? Because it seems to me that they do. And of course, every CD comes with liner notes.
Many do, but it's just a small component of the total picture.
A small component?
I think so, because you can't really even understand them, as our host said. You can open up the booklet and read them, but how many people will be influenced by this? It takes someone very dumb and very crazy, or maybe very young also, to do something crazy as a result of reading the lyrics book.
Well, at the risk of introducing the idea of a product plug at this point, I do think it's safe to say we at Family Radio have actually developed an entire technology that addresses this issue. We know this music is out there. We know it cannot be stopped in the easiest sense. And so what we've done, we've actually come up with a protocol where you may take your CD and from your CD player through a normal, a wire or whatever you'd say, you run it into any computer, home computer, and using the software we provide, we will have the computer translate the lyrics onto the screen, and you can read what really should be being said by these words, because it's I think they say it's a Boolean translation device. And for instance, I sampled a little of this music earlier with our software, and if I look on my laptop screen right now, here are the words that our new software will make from this music. For we were bondmen, yet our God hath not forsaken us in our bondage, but hath extended mercy unto us in the sight of the kings of Persia, to give us a reviving, to set up the house of our God, and to repair the desolations thereof, and to give us a wall in Judah and Jerusalem. Now that is a far more wholesome, readable, teachable bit of text than anything that this Norwegian man must be saying in the recording itself, which is undoubtedly nothing short of filth. And I think it's a suitable solution. And it's $39.95 for the software. You get the disc. Just write Family Radio, and we'll get one off.
Now, hold on a moment,
Harold. Platform.
Harold, are you saying that that's a subliminal message within the CD?
Oh, no. I'm saying that we have developed a way that translate right from the words that are clearly very, I would use a subliminal, phrasing, they're right there. I'm hearing them right now.
I don't
It
hear
needs a
those words.
computer to be able to translate it the way it wants to be read, the way it wants to be heard.
Well, I think what Mr. Camping is talking
That's
about.
Dr. Camping.
Mr. Camping.
That's Dr.
Not a doctor.
Please, gentlemen, let's not argue about our title. I mean, I should think that Dr. Camping,
Mr. Camping.
Mr. Camping should know exactly who he is,
I was
Pastor.
a Mister once. I
Rather
could be a
presumptuous
Mister
of
again.
you to assume he doesn't.
I think it's an honorary degree from the Baptist Bible College. But
Now, gentlemen, this is the same thing that brought the downfall of communism.
so what
Arguing
you're
among
saying,
yourselves.
Mr. Camping, is that
Go on.
what purpose does this software serve? Now, I guess if I had any use for it, possibly if I had a youngster in my home that had fallen victim to this type of music, and you could get him this CD, put it into his computer or her computer, and
Probably his.
they could listen to this music that they previously did not understand the words to, and convince them that the words are preaching the Bible.
I think you just answered your own question, Mr.
I think there's no reason for us to have any further debate because this music is so joyous and Christian, life-affirming.
I wouldn't go that far. If it was, there would be no need for
Well, it
the
requires
family radio
translation,
to
but-
have done this.
That's true.
The organization was responding to the obvious darkness that exists in the material. There's no question.
So, Mr. Camping, will that work on adult contemporary music, or what would happen if
We don't have that
what happens if you
available
put the
now.
software into the computer and you're listening just to regular rock bands such as
Well-
the Beatles or the Rolling Stones?
Mr. Sealand, why don't you take it home and find out for yourself? Maybe even right now, you could go home, check it out,
Thank you.
and come back
This is my complimentary
after
copy
the
right here.
program has ended.
Well, I can appreciate Mr. Camping's presence here this evening and his willingness to speak on behalf of his own beliefs regarding his own interpretation of God's Word. I have to say that I don't agree with much of what he says. Now,
That's your
Mr.
prerogative.
Your
Camping,
feathers are a bit
I think that we can both agree
Why
that
are
we're
you
not
yelling?
put on this earth to judge our fellow man. And
You don't
therefore,
need to yell.
I'll
Calm down,
refrain
folks.
from doing so. And let me do this. I'll simply share a few reviews of Mr. Camping's book entitled 1994.
Have it right
Now, I
here.
don't want anybody to miss the beat, so let's lower the music so we can hear these reviews of Mr. Camping's book entitled 1994. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with this book, it's a detailed study by Mr. Camping that concludes that Jesus Christ will descend from the heavens to claim his followers and to destroy the earth during the first week of October 1994.
That is correct. That is correct.
Now, just remember, these reviews do not
It was very
necessarily,
rainy, wasn't it?
these aren't going to reflect my own opinion. I'm simply reading the words as they were printed off of the page I have in my hand.
Where did you get this review? May I
These are
interject?
reviews from major sources,
Well, we'll
including...
take those with a grain of salt since you refuse to identify them.
These are actual
In fact,
reviews.
it suspiciously looks
Now,
like
these-
your handwriting.
These
on
are
the page.
actual reviews from Amazon.com. Now, our first review is entitled Off Base Book by a Sincere but Misguided Man.
Well,
Harold Camping's odd work is heavily influenced by numerology, a pseudoscience influenced by ancient mysticism that tries to find hidden truth behind literal meanings of the Bible. Now, the book is filled with strange assumptions based upon allegory mixed with ignorance. Camping's logic is so inconsistent that it should be required reading for students taking Nutcase 101.
oh, now that's a very
The Bible
cutting, low
stands
blow.
true with Mr. Camping's distortions of the greatest book ever written. Now, I just want to say again, I would never pass judgment on Mr. Camping, nor would I ever express myself in such a manner as this reviewer did. Now, for instance,
Nutcase 101.
well, this is just something I read out of a review, so I can't really say.
Box is probably more like it.
But I would never speak that way. For instance, I would never use the term nutcase to describe Mr. Camping, nor would I refer to his book as a course in Nutcase 101, despite what many others have said and are still saying about him. Of course, this is just my opinion, which I strive to keep within biblical guidelines. Now, in all fairness, what I'll do now is also include a positive review of Mr. Harold Camping's book, 1994, which predicts the return of Jesus Christ to Earth during the first week of October 1994.
That's right.
This by a very faithful Christian who loves the Lord, I'm sure. This is called 1994, Still Accurate. Well, that's an interesting perspective, a reviewer who is determined that Mr. Camping's book is still valid. And I will admit he presents some very convincing evidence to make his case in favor of Mr. Harold Camping's book of Christ's Return in 1994.
I'm very looking forward to hearing this.
Well, I'm looking forward to reading it. Now, the reviewer says, in his very positive and an uplifting review, the expected return of Christ as judge is exciting, and his return for unbelievers will be horrible. And if I may interject here, I have to say that I wholeheartedly agree. The review continues. Read why in this book. Fact is, God, through His Word, has given us more info. I guess that's short for information. More info since the year 1994. This is my opinion. Mr. Camping has not said this, but because of his teachings, this idea does not seem too foreign. It could be that the seventh seal was opened in 1994, and for 5 years there will be a period of silence, or perhaps the calm before the storm. The number 5 is significant in the Bible. 1/2 hour or 0.5 may equal the grace of God.
It may.
It seems possible that God, in His mercy, extended His grace for unbelievers for 5 years since 1994, which would bring us to September or October 1999. Oh my. I'm sorry, I must be reading an old review. Oh yes. May 2nd, 1999. Well, I guess maybe this reviewer would like to say that God extended His grace then for 10 years. I don't know. But I'll finish the review anyway.
I wish you would.
Camping, a true believer, has shared his insights on the coming, C-O-M-M-I-N-G, judgment, J-U-D-G-E-M-E-N-T, and if I were not born again, I would be scared stiff. Please get this book.
And I appreciate that very, very much.
Very good review.
Well, very good. Well, I think I've forgotten what I was even talking about.
Well,
but okay, I'm done. And remember, those were just reviews. They have nothing to do with me.
Yes. I'll just quickly add, if I may, that some biblical numbers are extra special. I even have a bold heading in my book, 1994, which Pastor Dick just read a complimentary review of. Thank you very much. Let's just say this, and I think this will be highly convincing. The sum of all the numbers coming before and including one of these numbers equals the beginning number. Now, that's a difficult thing for most people to comprehend. But
that sure is.
But it is, if you read out of context, maybe it'll be a little baffling. But let's just give it a shot. For example, the number 6.
Not one of my favorite numbers, that's for sure.
What are you?
Bless you. Can I give you some club soda here?
There's club soda around here. I seem to have a throat.
Oh, incidentally, for those listeners waiting for it, there will be no club soda break tonight. No club soda break. And speaking of club soda, where is the weatherman in on this debate?
To get some Uncle Sam's cereal.
We did bring in the weatherman as a
Oh.
normal, average citizen of suburbia who's probably had no experience with this music at all, and absolutely pristine mental condition concerning this music, and I would like to get his thoughts on this, if possible.
Let me ask, well, the weatherman is off mic. If I'll finish my thought.
Well, could you get him on mic, please?
He's pointing a camera at us.
He can get on mic while shooting.
Well, let me finish the sentence. The
All right,
weatherman.
Harold. All right, go ahead. Thank you.
Example of the number 6. Let's take it for just a second, and the weatherman can elucidate on how he feels about this. He'll give us his own review.
I'm sure he will.
The number 6 is also 2 times 3, and notably 1 plus 2 plus 3 equals 6.
Do the math.
All right? The number 6 is found rather frequently in the Bible, notably in connection with the 6 days of the week when God worked and when man worked. The special numbers are derived from the occasion, n equals n times n plus 1 over 2, wherein n equals any odd number, and n equals the sum of all the integers preceding and including n. Thus, when n equals 3, the sum of 1 plus 2 plus 3 equals, that's right, 3 times 3 plus 1 over 2, and thus 6 equals 3 times 2.
Harold, let me interrupt here. Is this going to get around to having any relevance to music whatsoever?
Well, in fact,
probably more so to music than to the Bible, but we'll let you continue.
If you apply, I will end with this. If you apply
Thank you.
almost any...
Oh, wait, hold on a moment here. Now, you have 3. 3 plus 2 is 5, and then divided by 5 is 1. 5 plus 1 is 6.
I couldn't follow that myself. In fact, I think he was incorrect on some of his addition.
All of the math, I don't know.
I've got a calculator right here, and believe me, my wife Shirley Sure.
Well, God didn't have a calculator, I can assure you of that,
They did not.
Mr.
They used
Camping.
tablets back in the day, my friend.
Be that as it may, Shirley Sure surely did, and she went over this book with a fine-tooth comb, and therefore, and I even have a handwritten note on my special first edition copy that says, what's wrong? I heard a gasping sound. It sounded like someone was hurt over
Please
there.
stop tickling Mr. Camping while he's trying to do his talk.
Therefore, 5 times 3 equals 15. Is anyone going to dispute that in the listening audience or in this room?
Whether you get it right or wrong, it's
1 plus 5
and
is 6 again.
1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 equals, let's hear it, Mr. Santo, 15. Is anyone going to dispute that in this room?
Well, I wasn't following, but
if you take any musical notation from any score and you apply the same formula, you will get, you guessed it, with this music, 6, 6, 6. If you multiply by 6, divide by 4 over 3. Now, what other proof do you need? It's right here between the pages of this book. I've been studying this for years. The fact that the judgment did not occur on precisely the day as I specified in 1994, as Pastor Dick is so fond of ribbing me for, is irrelevant. It's right here in the numbers. It's right here in the book. And I rest my case on that score.
Well, it's true that these numbers do add up. But what then? You have 1, 1, 5, 6, 4, 7, and then divide by 4. You come up again with 6, and then 4.
That's right.
7.
That's right.
And what does that leave us with?
Well,
a bunch of numbers.
You know, this is blasphemy as far as I'm concerned, because we believers have traditionally taken a literal view of the Scriptures. And we have a saying within our circle of believers, God said it, I believe it, and that settles it. Now, as far as Mr. Camping goes, I've written a little rhyme here this evening. Mr. Camping said it, I don't believe it, and Christ did not return in 1994. I think that's just about everything we need to know.
Pastor, you're right about that.
But your poetry is god-awful, if I may blaspheme, in the name of critical judgment.
Whose poetry?
Actually, he stole that from a death metal CD.
Maybe he did. Again,
I'm glad you're all very amused.
The year 1447 BC. was 1440 years earlier than the Jubilee year 7 BC. 1440. You're laughing, Pastor Dick, but read the book.
What did the Jubilee have to do with this?
What did the Jubilee?
If I remember my Bible correctly,
the Jewish people are really not what we're discussing here.
No, they're not. I think you've misunderstood me.
The other
It's
thing
a common
about your map,
mishearing.
Mr. Camping, is we're losing listeners. I think by the dozens. I wonder if you can do that math.
well, in order to get them back, Pastor, I think we should take a brief break right at this time. It is 5 minutes to 1 o'clock. This is KPFA and KPFB in Berkeley, KFCF in Fresno. This is Over the Edge, bringing you the Black Death debate tonight with Pastor Dick, Harold Camping, Santo Gold, and the weatherman, who will soon get on mic and tell us what he thinks about all this. But for the time being, I think we should take a break. We haven't actually listened to any of this music in a very complete way yet. And I think the listeners, before we lose the last one, should hear exactly what we're talking about in all its pure and undiluted glory. So here's something by a group called Extreme Noise and Terror. Santo, are they from Norway or Sweden or something?
I think they're from England.
England. All right. This is the English what should we say, the English branch of, what's this, Black Death Speed?
Kind of black metal, I guess you could call it.
Right. Extreme Noise and Terror. All right, here they are right now. Well, there's an example of black metal for you tonight, and these are the black metal debates here on Over the Edge, and I certainly would like to get the weatherman to get on a microphone and tell us a little about his reaction to all this strange and perturbing sounds. Weatherman, are you there?
All right, hold on a minute. Hand me that bottle.
I warned you.
Give it to me. All right.
Now,
I'm all sweaty.
Weatherman, you have been listening to music for how many years now?
I don't know, maybe when I was 10 years old and from then on.
And what would you say is your favorite kind of music?
Hold it a minute. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Okay, this looks like this is going to all fall apart.
It usually does, Weatherman.
Yeah.
So, what kind of music do you listen to?
Oh,
What's your thing right now?
I guess I like electronic drone. You know what that means. That's really relaxing. There's this little...
that's kind of old hat, isn't it, by now,
I
Weatherman?
don't care if it's old hat. It gives me goosebumps. There's this great little station on the internet called the Drone Zone.
And this kind of black death metal music doesn't give you goosebumps?
No, I don't care about it.
Well, as I understood a few months back, you were interested in goth to some extent. Isn't that very
If it's
similar?
more drony stuff, I like it fine, but lately I just don't care.
And do you pay attention to the lyrics?
No, I like instrumental. Not at all. I don't care about the words.
Well, so there you have it. A typical American is not affected by this music whatsoever. And that would be my inclination, too. I really don't see this as a pressing social problem. This music, in my mind, is probably black metal, death metal, one of the most dynamic forms of rock and roll at the moment. Rock and roll having become completely tired and cliched in the 90s and even in the late 80s, and going nowhere, doing nothing new. And this music has infused a little drama and a little sonic dynamics and excitement into rock, which I think it needed sorely. And actually, it's also very minimal in its approach, which I think is interesting. And all in all, in purely musical terms, aesthetic terms, I find it one of the most interesting kinds of music going on today. And regardless of what motivates it or what it's about, that doesn't tend to matter too much if you can understand what they're saying. And it seems like they make damn sure you can't. And I wonder, is this a kind of camouflage or subliminality to this particular form of Satanism? What do you think, Santo? Is this?
I think this is just they're trying to put their message out there, and they just happen to be not that adept at getting those lyrics out there. Each lyricist is trying to enunciate very clearly, but they're just not that successful. It happens to be the weakest point of the genre.
I see.
What is this about the artist enunciating very clearly? Why would you say a thing like that after we've spent so much time determining that the lyrics are not the least bit clear or understandable?
Well, I'm saying that they're trying their hardest to make them understandable. That's just
No,
not
they're
that
not.
successful.
They are absolutely not. That is completely
Yes, they are.
untrue.
They are trying.
Well, then why don't they open up the microphone and sing into it?
They just evidently don't know how.
I see. Well, you're both doing an excellent job
they are trying
of making light of this
trying
and
hard.
minimizing the problems that are
serious.
associated with it.
Pastor, part of the whole theatrics of the whole thing is like sounding like the devil. They're trying to sound like the devil, and
The
it's
baddest cat on the block.
That's
So
not
as
always.
long as it is theatrics, then that makes it okay.
Well, of course. Don't you know anything about show business?
That's just a thing man does. It's not. They're trying to sound like the devil because it's an in thing to do.
Well, you know
my
what?
feeling.
You know
I
what?
will play devil's advocate.
This isn't
just a
really
moment
the in
and
thing to
suggest
do. This
that.
music is hardly accessible. People have to go out of their way to get their hands on it, to find out about it. And and I think that is a very disturbing fact.
I think you should be happy. It's hard for them to get. They have to go out of their way through a lot of byways and tunnels, trammeling through a lot of places to get this. That keeps, I think, the world safer for Jesus. From your end, at least.
Yeah, well, this is very difficult. We're going to take some calls tonight.
There's a call coming in right now.
Yes, let us do that. If you want to get in on the Black Death debate here tonight with Pastor Dick, Harold Camping, and famed collector Santo Gold, and of course the weatherman, but don't ask to speak to him. You can call us here at Over the Edge. Our number is 510-848-4425, and here's our first call.
Welcome to the open forum.
Now, Harold, this isn't really the open forum.
Oh, it's force of habit.
Yes, good hello. Oh, it's a tape player. No, listen, this isn't the night for tape playing. We want some conversation here, some debate.
Welcome.
It's hello, good hello. You're on the Black Death debate.
Yes, I'm so glad I could be on the air, like, black metal, death metal, speed metal, doom metal, whatever, any kinds of metal that have, like, some kind of prefix to them have all been given a bad name. I mean, there's so
I wonder why.
Well, there's so many bands that you guys have never heard of. Like, I mean, I've turned out to be such a good person, like, I don't know.
I bet Santos heard of them. Name one.
Name one. Let's try me.
Let's see. Have you guys ever heard of Stay in School?
Never heard of them.
Stay in school? Well, at
Stay
least
in school?
I like that name.
Sleep late?
How about Keep Off Drugs? Have you ever heard of them?
Yes,
I have heard about that, yes.
Keep Off Drugs is a band that has actually sponsored our electronic translation program, as I mentioned earlier. They're one of the movers and shakers, to use a modern term.
And there's bands like Obey Your Parents, Respect the Good Lord.
They're more like hardcore, aren't they?
Oh man, these don't make you bang your head against the wall. It's bands like these,
They really flush, man.
That's just what we need.
Bands
Yet
like
another
these don't need
participant
enemies.
in this debate who is just making a mockery of the entire situation.
Thank you for that.
Thank you for calling. Have you heard of that band, my friend?
He was lying.
Yes. And goodbye. Have you heard of them? And now our next caller here on the Black Death debate. Good hello.
Yeah, okay, keep talking.
Where are you calling from?
Good hello.
Taking enough stuff from you for one day. Raving psycho.
No, we don't care about tapes tonight.
Not interested
We're not
in
kidding
tapes.
either. You can keep trying, and I'll cut you off in no time.
Play your subliminal tapes all you want, but keep them at home for
This is
yourself.
not the night for tapes. I'm telling you, this is the Black Death debate. We have live debaters here in the studio. We want live debaters on the phone. No modern noise tonight. Only Black Death.
That would be 540-848-4425. And there's a call right now. You're on the
Good hello. Go ahead with your
open
question.
forum of sorts.
Hello.
There he is again.
Good hello. Go ahead with your question.
Yeah, I had a question about the whole metal scene. I mean,
That's what we're here for. Go ahead.
Yes, it's still a form of art. I mean, it's
course it
showmanship. It's entertainment. I mean, just because someone they're singing about, I don't know, death or Satan or whatever. Look at all these other bands. I mean, look at Jerry Lee Lewis, Great Balls of Fire. What the hell was that? That doesn't make me.
Watch your language there.
Please.
We're going to have to.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to use HE double hockey sticks.
Great globes of fire. Something, Clean it up a little.
Great bells of fire.
Great spheres of burning gas.
But do you listen to black metal, death metal, any of those kind of
What
bands?
about grindcore? Do you enjoy grindcore music?
Not as a fan, but I'm familiar with those types of music. I got some wild friends, and just from being a connoisseur of all different kinds of music, I mean, it's an art form. Just because the lyrics are blah, it doesn't mean the people worship Satan.
The lyrics are what?
The lyrics are wherever you say they are, that's so bad and such a bad influence. On
Well, don't let them define the lyrics.
Murdering and dismembering one's parents.
Nobody can understand what they're saying, so you define them for yourself.
Well, if you use the translator, available for $39.95 from Family Radio Incorporated.
Oh, Harold, no one's going to go to the trouble to listen to that.
Well, I'm entirely serious. It does work very well. Very well.
No one wants to get mixed up with software when they're trying to listen to records. Come on.
It's a brave new world, and it's all good, as they say.
It is, Harold. I like you. Don't listen to that other guy.
You know what? I don't know what you're getting at, caller. Defending Jerry Lee Lewis, but rock music has always been associated with an anti-Christian attitude, an immoral lifestyle, and violence. The first rock concert in 1952, the Moondog Ball, which was organized by disc jockey Alan Freed. It resulted in a riot that sent mobs of young people rampaging through the streets of Cleveland, Ohio.
It continues to this day.
That's right. Riots, beatings, stabbings, just like today, occurred at the Freed concerts in the early 1950s.
In addition,
following a riot in Boston 1958, in fact, rock concerts were banned in several cities, and Freed was kicked out of the concert business.
Let the man speak.
And incidentally, Alan Freed died in 1965 at the age of 42. Penniless and drunken.
Well,
and
if we look at the number
well
42,
epitomizes the wretched history of rock and roll.
4 plus 2.
Okay, go ahead and do your math.
The word of the good Lord Jesus doesn't mean it's bad or evil. That's just a screwed up attitude.
Well, that's true.
It is
I mean, riots happen everywhere. Riots happen on the street. It just happens to be a coincidence. A riot happened at a rock concert.
Well, it's a coincidence that people are murdering and dismembering over the present trend of the death metal and the black metal music.
Yeah, and although one wonders about the value of such activity, when it is realized that upon Christ's return, this world will be destroyed by fire anyway. And thus our possessions, wherever they are, money or property, will be totally consumed. And we can keep that in mind and moot this whole debate and moot it.
I'm sure Jesus wouldn't care. If Jesus is up there and he's looking down, he'd be, are you good people? Are you trying to be good? Are you trying to live your life in a good way? Are you devoting yourself to me, asking me for forgiveness? I don't care what you listen to.
He probably would care, as a matter of fact, but the question is he ever going to know about it? Because, did he ever exist?
Right.
Thank you for that call, and
thank you.
Thank you for calling and sharing.
Good hello, you're on the Black Death debate.
I really thought you believed that.
What? Speak up.
It's a tape.
I really thought you believed that.
It's a sampling recording. Let's take another call, please. And welcome to Over the Edge.
Open Over the Edge.
I was just listening. In response to the last caller, I would like to say that there's so much anarchy and turmoil out there in this country we like to call America that seems to be so great. This is polluting our children. It's so easy to get a hold of. You just go on the internet and you just type in keyword black, keyword death, keyword metal, doom,
or Harold software.
And it's just so accessible to our young people today, and it's just horrible. I mean, I don't have any kids. If I did, I wouldn't even let them go on the internet or watch MTV because it's just bad.
I would probably kill my kids if I had some from listening to all this music.
It is just bad.
Well, if I had any, I'd move to Canada.
Well,
here we are. Sorry for that feedback.
It was quite appetizing to the ear.
Well, see, and I think you're expressing there something that I feel, that this is the age of noise, and there's no more noisy noise than this.
That's true. There is noisier noise, this metal, death metal, black metal, whatever you want to call it. I don't see why there's so many different classifications of this music.
And almost 200,000 people die within every 24-hour period as it is.
Come on, let me ask you, which would you rather listen to, In Sync or this?
Oh, damn, it's all the way. It's so bad.
Britney Spears or this?
Yeah. I'm going to swear June 23rd, baby. I'm going to come back so bloody. Oh, anarchy and chaos.
Listen how the man. Wow, that was really interesting. Did you hear how, as the man listened to the music, he actually became possessed to speak of words not from his original thought?
That's what music's all about,
He was
Harold.
absolutely and utterly transformed by the music.
All music does that, Harold. You're riding to work in your car and a song comes on and you start singing the words, and they're not from your head or express any of your opinions or feelings at all. They're just words to the song. That's the way it works, Harold. Well, don't you drive to your station every day or week, or how often do you do that? Every day? And aren't you listening to music on the radio? What do you listen to, Harold?
Well, I listen to my own program in air checks, if you really want to know.
Just the same, I see.
If I hadn't listened to it for the last 36 years, I wouldn't be as good as I am today.
Well, you're probably right, Harold. Now, Pastor Dick, what do you listen to for recreation? What is your form of music, if this stuff is so bad?
Well, back 15, 20 years ago, I listened to family radio as well. But
then really saying something.
They don't play
that was
music.
back before it became weird.
They don't play music. I'm talking
they
about...
They certainly do play music.
On
they
your
have many
home...
musical shows on family radio, which I now avoid.
So you're saying that...
That's your choice.
Both of you only listen to religious music. Is that right?
No, that's not true.
Exactly what we said.
Well, give us some bands. Who are your favorites?
Well, before I stopped listening to music and just listened to my own air checks, why I listened to the Andrews Sisters, I listened to Bing Crosby,
Boogie Woogie,
Bugle Boy. That's right. In fact, that's one of my favorite songs. I heard God Today, very beautiful, spiritual, listen to it often. Nothing untoward in the words of that song or either of the songs I've just mentioned. If I could have those two songs on a tape and was still listening to music, why, I'd be listening to them all day and evening long. And there's your answer. Not very illuminating, but it's the truth.
And lately, some of my favorite bands and artists would be Gloria Vanderrood, Bill Parks. Let's see, there's a band out I enjoy called The Tree, Ron Billings, and Randy Rose.
I've never heard of any of those. Have you, Santa?
I'm not surprised. No, there are people who understand the Word of God in its truest sense.
Well, my son is in a band called Seth, Enos, Noah, and Shem.
Thank you for calling.
Good hello. Are you there? This is the Black Death debate.
Wow.
Well, I can understand your amazement, but go ahead. What, do you have a question about this music or comment?
I really thought you believed that.
Speak up. Tape.
Why did you cut him off?
Good hello.
Aren't even
that was
good
the tape
samples.
again. That was the tape, Harold.
Oh.
Yes, he's trying over and over. I'm surprised you didn't recognize it because we've heard it before.
Well, this language surely makes reference to an immediate family relationship.
Good hello.
Good morning, gentlemen. I am an attorney representing General Foods Corporation.
Yes,
I'm calling to inform Mr. Camping that he will be receiving a notice of action regarding a disparaging and somewhat slanderous remark he made about Cracker Jacks. My client feels that this statement was inflammatory and completely uncalled for.
Did he make that statement tonight?
I heard it.
Yes,
the nut job statement?
Harold, I wish
nothing
you wouldn't do that, Harold.
We were thinking of the Nutcase 101 from the review of
Mr.
Camping's book, 1994.
May I ask?
This is a separate issue.
We're trying to keep the show on the air week after week. We cannot have
a better way to
inflammatory remarks about products that people actually like.
Sir, I cannot properly justify that unless I hear the quote back. What did I say in your words? Because I have no memory of that whatsoever.
Well, he hung up. Does anyone else remember what Harold said about Cracker Jacks?
I think it was something about nut job he was talking about.
No, I think that the reviewer of Harold, Mr. Harold Camping's book, 1994, who stated that the book was good for, let's see, if I can find the review right here.
Clutching its straws.
Yes, here it is, Nutcase 101. It should be required reading for students taking Nutcase 101. And I don't think that was related to the comment that Mr. Camping made about Cracker Jack.
Well, some confusion there, but
clearly there is.
Seems the lawyer has dropped away like most lawyers do.
Yes, I think that was just a bluff.
Just a threat. They're so well known for that, trying to intimidate you with empty threats and see how far they can get without actually spending any money. But it's not going to work here because we're going to take our next call. Good hello.
Yes, I have a question for Mr. Santo. Would you argue that this music has any redeeming social value, and if so, what is it?
Yes, I think it has a lot of value. It's just good music.
That's socially redeeming.
Well, meaning what? Helping people, helping children? I don't know about that. I don't know if that's music's role.
Isn't just enjoyment socially redeeming factor?
Yes.
What do you want, an unenjoyable society?
Absolutely.
Well,
there you have it.
There you have it.
You've got what you want.
Another empty comment, more rationalization, justification, no answer whatsoever.
Please, Pastor Dick, shut up.
Definitely qualifies as unenjoyable.
Well, sir,
I'm sorry.
may I remind you, 15 times 8 equals, wouldn't you know it, 120. 1 plus 2 plus 3, etc., plus 4 plus 15 equals 120.
Makes the head spin.
It really, really does.
Thank you for calling.
Good hello. You're on the Black Death debate.
Welcome.
Yes, I believe that the reason the lyrics and content of the genre is so horrific is because they treat these things as abstractions, not as real events. When a band names itself Dying Fetus, it is not advocating the death of fetus as we know it, just that our society has reached a point where dehumanization is on that scale.
Well, I would agree with you about that in terms of most rock and roll. However, at this particular genre, there have been several cases where the musicians have in fact carried out their lyrics in real life in various disgusting and objectionable ways.
And how do you explain that
including burning churches,
to the thousands upon thousands of 12-year-olds who are listening to this type of music?
Angry young men are wont to do irrational things. This has been true for many thousands of years.
But the question is, are these the kind of people who would do that anyway, or are these the kind of people where the music has instigated this actual frame of mind?
It channels their energy in a way that makes it possible. So yes, the music influences their instability and aggression towards doing such things as burning the churches and killing rival band members or other people. But
yes, that's my theory, is that music cannot create crime, but it becomes a soundtrack for it.
Yes,
it enables the fetus to die.
Of a choice, just as one chooses one's weapons, one chooses one's music. But basically, you have to have the mentality and the attitude to do the crime because music's not going to give it to you.
Yes,
and I'll tell you that plenty of people listen to this music and never commit a crime.
Yes,
so
rock music and its most direct predecessors, the blues, ragtime, jazz, boogie woogie, they've all shared a philosophy of hedonism. Whatever feels good is right. Do your own thing. If it feels good, do it. That is also the basic philosophy of Satanism.
Yes, and may I just say that if we open to Ezekiel 33:1-9, you see the proof of...
I have it here. Harold, go ahead.
You have it? Does the caller have it?
I do not have Ezekiel.
Well,
is Ezekiel about operant conditioning, or?
By the way, Ezekiel was the first biblical figure to see a UFO, too. That's just an aside.
That's correct, but I will say this may be allegorical for Pastor Dick's comment about jazz. I will agree with the good pastor at this moment, and we'll just read this one sentence. If the watchman see the sword come and not blow the trumpet, and the people not be warned, if the sword come and take any person away from them, he is required at the watchman's hand. I think I read the wrong. Oh, I'm sorry. I read the wrong sentence.
That doesn't make any sense.
Here it is. Here it is.
Sword may slice.
Please let me finish. If the sword come and take him away, the blood shall be on his own head. He heard the sound of the trumpet and took not warning. His blood shall be upon him. Now, you could point right back at Scripture to look at the origins of jazz, and you could interpret that in one of many ways, but it is a clearly violent, base, difficult environment, and depicted right here on these pages.
It is again, I believe, a case where people in that age range are more strongly influenced by these sorts of inputs, and when you do have a form of negative operant conditioning or Pavlovian responses almost to stimulus, why are there thousands of young men beating each other up, so to speak, in front of in a mosh pit while Slayer, Pantera, Morbid Angel, whoever it is, are playing?
A what pit? I'm sorry.
Mosh pit.
It is
trying to keep abreast of the terminology. Sorry?
The mosh pit is a kind of a violence as a form of self-expression where people aren't actually trying to hurt each other, but they are making very strong physical contact and sometimes...
Where does one go to see this mosh pit, as you call it? Where do you have this sort of a thing? Can you be more specific?
They have become extraordinarily popular, so virtually any large, aggressive rock and roll show will have one at this point. It started out in punk rock many years ago and crossed over to metal in the Bay Area, in fact, in about 1984. And it has since become convention within music festivals and other large venues. You could see them virtually anywhere.
Well, that's very interesting. The proof would
right
certainly
here.
be in the pudding. Well, maybe there is one outside these studio walls, Mr. Santo, that you can't see. The music's being piped to other rooms, and there's many people in this building.
That's true.
I think that is the patrol unit circling the building in case of another insurrection at the station.
Very good thought. Thank you for the good thought.
Thank you for that call here on the Deaf Debate. And now we go to line 67. Good hello.
Yes, bear with me. I am oblivious to the discourse of this FM broadcast.
We're debating death metal music.
I'm currently calling from Atlanta, Georgia.
I see. Are you listening to us on computer?
No, I only have one phone line, sir.
So you have no idea what's going on?
That is correct.
Well, it's good to have you on the line.
Welcome, sir.
It's good to be here. Thank you.
Now, do you have any thoughts on death metal or black metal music? Are you a fan?
Doom metal, speed metal, grindcore?
I know what they speak. I know many kids in the neighborhood to listen to.
Why are you changing your voice?
Mosh pit.
And Scandinavian metal bands, they kill each other, they run around with makeup on. It's no good. It's no good.
So your vote would be no good.
Well,
why no good?
Coalinga.
Coalingo?
Coalinga is the Coalinga, California.
Oh, that's the home of one of the most nefarious handicap metal bands. It's my understanding they're called the Faxed Head.
That's that wheelchair band?
That's right, the Faxed Head from Coalinga, California. Well, we've had them on our prayer list for many months.
Well, I believe that Christianity does play a role in this because these kids are getting their intuition from this death metal, and they should be getting from Jesus.
Sir, may I ask, are you ethnically challenged?
I have.
You are changing your voice from various ethnic groups to another, as if you are channeling maybe something that you are not, sir.
No, that is not the result of anything that you speak. I suffer from several disorders, one of which is multiple personality.
Well, thank you for that
very
possessed
much.
call, and let's go to line 29.
Hi. Welcome.
Good hello.
This is line 69.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yes, sir.
Would you please turn yourself upside down and go ahead?
Hang on a second. Okay, now I'm upside down.
All right, now you're 96, just like I said. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you, kind sir. Good hello, and I'm confused by something because you talked about the destruction of the Christian churches as though it's a bad thing. Is that an accurate assessment of...
Well, I think
necessarily a
two
bad
of
thing.
our debaters think it's a bad thing. I think Santo and I would like to see it disappear entirely.
Well, you know, death and destruction are part of the cycle of life.
Of course.
So if Christian churches aren't destroyed, then they can't live.
A soundtrack for life can be altered.
Can't be reborn unless they die, so let's get on with it.
If you take the death of Jesus out of the whole, New Testament thing, then really there's nothing left.
Right.
There's a
Spiral.
beautiful
It all goes
solution.
back to the umbilical cord.
That's right.
If there ever was anything left. You know, prophecies say there isn't anything left.
There would be no Christianity if it weren't for death.
Now you're talking.
Quite right. I don't think we'd need it. Very insightful. Are you a fan of this music?
A fan?
Well, are you interested? Do you buy it? You're a booster.
I'm a toaster.
A toaster?
No, yes.
Well,
he's a poster boy for the movement?
No, I'm a toaster. I'm not a fan.
You're a toaster. Well, I'm a blender.
You're a blender. All right.
He is popping up right now.
Thus, the number of years from 1940 to 1960 is 20. 1960 minus 1940 equals 20.
Multiply that by 3.
Run it over in your head. I can tell you it's the case. Welcome to the black metal debate.
And as soon as we have a real caller, I'll begin to participate.
All right, we have a couple of callers here.
There's 2 callers on the line. Pastor Dick, good people, do call.
Good hello.
Good hello.
I have a relatively serious comment about this issue.
I wish you would. Go ahead.
If you can think back into ancient evolutionary times, all the way up to present.
Yes, I'm doing it now.
We have always had a violent nature that we have attempted
Oh, that's a load of hooey.
Absolutely. Various levels, not successfully, I might add. But if you can imagine for a moment what the world would be like if all of this music disappeared tomorrow, if all the violence in films disappeared tomorrow, if everything was cleaned up so pristinely beyond any point that will ever happen, but just hypothetically, I think children growing up without any outlet for their frustrations at all, if they were just in Sunday school every day and going down to the petting zoo and buying video games where all the characters got along famously.
Going to Sunday school.
I think they would grow up to be far, far more dangerous individuals than the kids who listen to this music, or the adults for that matter, who do have some kind of an outlet, some kind of a compartment in their brain where they can allow themselves to at least pretend that they are violent. In most cases, probably 99% of the cases, they're not violent people at all, but they sure would be if they grew up in a world where they could not even explore these feelings.
Very
Repressed syndrome.
Well, perhaps you're right, but that 1% sure is scary. I mean,
just got to try to keep away from them.
When you look back 50 years when we weren't exploring these feelings, it was quite a different world, and it was relatively free of violence, at least in regular society.
Well, as a longtime connoisseur of this music, and I've enjoyed it for some time and had amassed quite a large collection of LPs and CDs. And
who are some of your favorites at the moment?
All the bands we've been playing tonight. And I must say...
How can you tell which ones we've been playing?
I'm hearing them right now.
Well,
we are playing them. He can't hear
I'd
them.
like him to name some of the bands. I would like him to name some of the bands right now.
No,
here and now.
Don't do that.
I want to hear the names of the band.
Would you trust a man who called himself a long kind of sewer? I wouldn't.
Where to now?
But I eventually came to the conclusion that although I did enjoy the music, it all sounds the same.
All? Observant.
Yes, it does all sound the same, hence I cannot actually name which particular bands you were playing because they're pretty much indistinguishable.
I would agree with you, sir. Thank you for that.
Looking like a true fan. Another phony caller, folks.
It's just 8, the number of the 60. I like that only 8. Jesus himself was a very violent person.
Yes, he was. He was. Till the end of his life when his violence turned on him. And 7 times 4 was equally shown to be 28 at that moment. It's right here in my book.
Well, it's true that 28 is nearly 3 times 9.
That's right.
28 is one more than 3 times 9.
That's right. It's nearly equal.
Good hello. While they're talking about numbers, do you have anything pertinent to say about black metal, death metal, speed metal, doom metal? What's that latest one? Melody metal or
grindcore, melodic
metal.
Death metal.
Now, isn't that strange?
People will always talk about. They say, "Oh yeah, that band, they're melodic."
Well, I don't listen to music because music is contrary to the ways of the Lord.
Well, this is true. You know, famous early 20th century Satanist Aleister Crowley.
Thought you were going to say John Cage.
Has had a large influence upon modern music. Mick Jagger of the Rolling Stones and Jimmy Page of Led Zeppelin scored soundtracks for films about Crowley. And images of Crowley's Satanist religion were woven through the albums of Led Zeppelin. The Satanist photo appeared on the Beatles' Sgt. Pepper album cover. And this is all taken for granted by all of us. David Bowie referred to Crowley on his song Quicksand. And Graham Bond thought he was Crowley's illegitimate son. And of course we know Crowley's philosophy was do what thou wilt, to be the whole of the law. And I think that is the basic philosophy of modern music.
Well, it's a well-known fact that Jesus was invited to a wedding and turned water into wine so that all of the celebrants of the wedding could get drunk and pass out.
This is not true.
That is a
this
bit
is
of
not
a
true.
stretch.
That was lost in the translation.
That's an
Jesus
interesting
transformed the water into grape juice. Unfermented beverage.
Jesus made it into fine wine. It's very clearly stated that it's fine wine.
Well, if you look back at the Greek translation and the Hebrew translation, the words they used in the original were yayin and oinus. Now, if you look at that word could mean any number of things. It could mean grape juice. It could mean grape jelly. It could mean the grapes. And finally, on the off chance that the grapes had fermented, yes, you could refer to it as wine.
I actually have that right in front of me, and I've been inspired by the Spirit to translate that as Gewürztraminer.
Go ahead, sir.
Death metal is really good.
Let's listen to his translation.
And aren't a lot of these death metal people winos, basically?
Basically, a lot of them are on heroin or crack or maybe a little bit of methamphetamine.
Well, but I can safely say not the band that's playing right now, because you're listening to Seth, Enos, Noah, and Shem, which is my son's outfit. There they are right there. They're a straight-edge death metal band. I don't quite approve, but I'm about halfway there. There they are now.
The whole thing is about death metal. It's great with firearms. You mix it with firearms and you get a wonderful incendiary combination. Fantastic.
Are you referring to Christian death metal? Is this what your son's band is about?
No, he is a secular musician, and I only shower him with my love.
Wow.
Look the other way.
So
I think it's fantastic.
So you guys definitely anti-death metal. Is that basically it?
No, not me, and not Santos, certainly.
I didn't hear your last statement.
He said we're all against death metal. It's just not true.
I love this.
I think it's fantastic.
Are you guys against firearms too and freedom?
Freedom and firearms, you think
I'm
they
against freedom, yes.
Go together?
I like freedom. I love firearms, but I am against.
I'll tell you, when somebody's holding a firearm on you, you don't have much freedom.
No, you do not.
Contrary to the ways of the Lord.
Eat burn. Well, I'll tell you one thing about death metal. It's good for your soul. It really is.
lets a lot of juice loose.
Well, I think a lot of the bands would be very unhappy to hear you feel that way.
The palate.
It does let a lot of views loose, and it's done that throughout time.
The color is
Blood, sweat, tears,
soul music.
or whatever else.
I have a feeling we're getting pretty close to news time here.
Yes, we are. We'll be having a little news for you in just a moment. Also, Pastor, you're going to do an exclusive interview with the weatherman, I understand.
This is true. In order to make my point here this evening, we are going to talk to the weatherman. We have a surprise interview, but we'll go ahead and cover that later.
All right. All right, let's listen to a little more of this fantastically... yes, are you there? Good, hello. Oh, I don't get it.
There he goes again. Let's go back and just keep listening to Seth, Enos, Noah, and Jim.
Do I murder you now or later?
Okay, what's wrong with Christian rock? Basically, what's right with it? What's right with Christian pornography? Nothing. You can't have Christian pornography. You can't have Christian rock. Like I mentioned, these guys dress as transvestites, which is an abomination to God, according to the Bible. And just everything that goes along with rock and roll. And the Bible says that we're not supposed to imitate the world or the nations around us. We're supposed to be a sanctified, holy people. We're supposed to be different from the world, and these people are imitating the world.
Praise the name of Jesus. And I just ask that Holy Spirit to flow up and down their spinal cord and spinal column to burn out any demon that is attached to itself. Oh, you're coming up now. That's right, you cannot stay. You're coming up now. You're coming up. You snake, you're serpent of evil. You're bound off our spinal cord now in the name of Jesus, and you leave. In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Yes, you cannot stay. You cannot stay.
Lying, stealing, murdering, and all those parts, I bind them together right now.
He proceeds to call out the different demonic spirits. And normally I will cough them up. I can feel them leave.
I've never had to deal with a case of total possession where the whole personality, their mind, their emotions, their body is taken over under the control of a demon. In other words, there's no shouting, screaming, theatrics.
And basically, rock stars are people's gods today.
Spiritual leader John Cardinal O'Connor delivered a provocative message, warning the devil was real, his evil was spreading, and exorcisms approved by the church were being used to rid some people of their demons.
I silence Judah. I command the spirit of evil to leave now. We don't want to leave. We don't want Judah. Obey me in everything, although I am an unworthy servant of God. Do no damage to this person, or to any of the people in this house. Lord Jesus Christ, send your Holy Spirit into our hearts and our lives, Lord. Send your Holy Spirit into our lives, Lord. No, I'm not good. I therefore enjoin every unclean spirit, each devil, each partner of Satan, fear. In the name of our Lord, grace, the power of here, and blessed is thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us in the hour.
But could those remarkable claims of demonic possession be true?
It also could be a prelude to levitation, rising up off the ground. If you weren't being held down, the resistance could be such that you would rise up off the floor and go to the ceiling where nobody could touch you.
That is your lot, impious one, because you are the prince of cursed homicide, master of the most evil actions, the teacher of heretics, the inventor of all obscenity. Go up there, impious one. Now we're heading into the spot that says what we call a confrontation stage, where we're clashing together.
God the Father, God the Son, God the Spirit.
I was seeing a 16-year-old little girl, being screamed at and yelled at, and then had to fight with myself and say, wait a minute, there's something more happening here. Having been involved in similar situations, I know the reality of evil.
Spirit elements. Those who have done good will enter eternal life, and those who have done evil will...
When I glanced from the book and looked into her face, you could see the hatred was so intense. At times it's very nerve-wracking to see that look glaring at you. Knowing that the evil that's present hates you so much. It's a frightening moment.
I bind them together. See, I anger. Murder and the rest. Murder and the rest. Remove the curse. Remove the curse from this man. From this man. And his children. And his children. And all future generations.
This is the Black Death Debate here on Over the Edge, KPFA in Berkeley. And now we're going to a special feature by Pastor Dick.
You're tuned to News and Christian Views, a study in the current events of today from the Christian viewpoint. I'm Pastor Richard Sealand. Dateline, Pleasant Hill, California. A team of researchers at Costa Christian Junior College have completed an intensive science study class on the short-term effects of death metal music on children. Here with more on this important research study is Viewpoint Special Reporter Dale Embry.
Thank you, Pastor Dick. Music has long been something that children of all ages listen to. But can the wrong kind of music cause your child irreversible harm? A team of researchers from Costa Christian College in Pleasant Hill say yes. Researchers Emmett and Barbara Freitag conducted a series of experiments utilizing 2 VCRs and a portable tape recorder. Innocent and impressionable volunteers from Children's Church were isolated and played instrumental versions of easy listening hits and were asked to make up a story to go with the music. Here is an example as 12-year-old Chad Wheat takes part in the first study.
One spring morning, as dew dripped from leaves in the moist spring air, the sunshine went to the clouds with rays of sun and golden sunshine. The flowers seemed very happy, blowing off their pollen.
Then the boy was asked to listen to one song by a popular death metal group. When the song ended, another easy listening track was introduced, and the boy was asked to tell another story. Here is what transpired.
is Dale Embry reporting for News and Christian Views.
Well, thank you, Dale, for your interesting and informative report. In our next story, police link killings to goth, occult, and death metal. Dateline, Concord, California, August 10th, 2000. A plot to extort $100,000 from an elderly couple led to the murders of 5 people, including blues guitarist Elvin Bishop's daughter, who may have been in on the scheme, police said Thursday. 2 brothers and their female roommate were arrested on possession of drugs and burglary charges, and police consider them potential suspects in the slayings. Selena Bishop, 22, daughter of renowned guitar player Elvin Bishop, may have joined in the scheme before she was killed, Concord Police Lieutenant Paul Crane said Thursday. Among the biggest mysteries are when Bishop was killed. Her remains and those of Ivan and Annette Steinman were believed to be spread among at least 8 sport duffel bags pulled from a Sacramento County river this week. It is also unclear whether the Steinmans were forced to write 2 checks before they were killed, or if someone forged the signature, Crane said. Elvin Bishop's daughter, Selena Bishop, or someone posing as her, called a bank before the checks were written to her name, were cashed last week. Crane said, one police theory is that she may have fled and was killed after objecting to the Steinman's deaths. A chainsaw and a sawhorse were found inside the Steinman's van, which was abandoned in Oakland with the keys still in the ignition, Crane said. Selena Bishop, rock icon Elvin Bishop's daughter, had been dating Glenn Helzer, age 30, who had been the elderly couple's former stockbroker, police said. Investigators said that connection helped them link the disappearance of the Steinmans and Bishop last week to the shooting deaths of Bishop's mother, Jennifer Villerin, 45, and her friend, Joseph Gamble, 54, who were found in Bishop's apartment. Glenn and his brother Justin Helzer, 28, were arrested Monday, along with the roommate, Don Godman, 26, in their home down the street from the Steinmans. Police also found drugs in their home. While no one has been charged in any of the murders, Glenn Helzer made statements linking himself to the elderly couple's disappearance, Contra Costa District Attorney Hall Jewett said. The night Ivan Steinman, 85, and his wife, 78, were last seen alive, a neighbor saw the 2 men with long ponytails entering their home. Elvin Bishop's daughter, Selena, was last seen alive with Glenn Helzer 3 days later at a Berkeley establishment that specialized in intoxicating liquor drinks. The next morning, her mother, the former wife of popular singer and guitarist Elvin Bishop, were shot to death in just up to bed.
Huh? You gotta be kidding.
As police raided the Helzer's home, Godman and Glenn Helzer fled out of the back door. Glenn Helzer allegedly broke into a nearby home, armed himself with 2 kitchen knives, and cut off his ponytail with a pair of scissors. Has he killed somebody, his hostages wanted to know? Not yet, Helzer replied, according to police. The Helzers and Godman were raised in the Mormon cult, and Glenn and Justine had served their 2-year missions. Glenn later married and had 2 daughters. The Helzers' grandfather, Helmuth Helzer, told the San Francisco Chronicle that the 2 brothers apparently got involved with drugs and that Glenn lost his stockbroker job at Dean Witter and abandoned his family. Elvin Bishop's daughter, Selena, reportedly met Glenn Helzer at a rave concert, local reporters said. Elvin Bishop, best known for his 1976 top 10 pop hit, Fooled Around and Fell in Love, has not commented on the case. Karma and Jerry Helzer, the suspect's parents, sat through Thursday's news conference at the Concord police station. I know what the truth is, but I will not tell you what the truth is, Mrs. Helzer said, adding,
I would like the victims' families to join us in prayer. News theme. And that's the news and Christian views. I am Pastor Richard Sealand reporting. And now, News and Christian Views presents this special live interview from our studio.
What do you mean?
I must say that is some of the most unprofessional radio that I've ever heard you or any of your cohorts do, and I cannot help but be critical of it. Please continue.
Now, I know this is a very disturbing story, and I have a guest with me who
Why
will
is it so funny?
help me put it into perspective. Now, he's a world-renowned celebrity and performer who is directly involved with at least one of the notorious figures mentioned in the story I just read. Ladies and gentlemen, here today from Contra Costa County, please welcome with me, please, the weatherman.
Yes, can I make one comment? Can I?
Go right ahead, please.
Put the mic up closer.
Well, wait a minute. I'll get down to it. I don't want to touch it. Don't touch me now. Here's what stop it. Here's what I have to say. There's no soap in the bathroom, and I have to go to the bathroom. What are you guys going to do about it?
Well, we'll talk about that after our exclusive interview here this morning.
And I'm going to break the rules, too. I'm going to have some club soda, whether you guys like it or not. How about that?
I understand.
Is that okay?
Weatherman, I know you've not talked about this publicly until now, but I understand that one of the serial murderers in this case is a good friend of yours, namely the aforementioned Justin Helzer, 28.
I thought he was, yeah. Worked with me at AT&T.
But I do understand that before the highly publicized murders became a national news story, you spent a good deal of time together with Justin and had engaged in various yet-to-be-disclosed activities with him on a fairly regular basis.
Now you're getting a little ridiculous.
Well, I know this is a highly sensitive moment for you right now, but I understand you often traded compact discs, many of which were gothic in nature and some which might have contained what would be considered death metal. Now, can you tell us more about this, please?
Well, I guess
was Justin Helzer the killer listening to death metal CDs?
Well, I don't know if it was like what we were playing tonight, but he liked Rammstein. Is that considered death metal? I don't think so.
Not exactly.
But is it close?
Near.
Yeah. What does Du Hast mean, for example? What's the translation?
Du Hast, if you...
What does it mean?
Well,
that was Justin's favorite song. What does that mean?
Depends entirely on the context.
Here, look that up for me.
Du Hast.
Yeah.
It is a phrase called... It is a phrase called his name, which is the Hebrew Kara Shem, which gives us help with at least a few of the names in these chapters.
Wait, is that complicated?
Hope that helps.
I don't think it does. I don't even know what you're talking about.
Before we go on, Pastor Dick, can you allow me to ask the weatherman, why have you dismembered, and I will use that term, a microphone and placed it...
I don't know
You
why.
know what I'm going to say.
I wanted to do a new experiment with club soda.
Well,
That's all.
you have a microphone with no cable, wrapped in plastic, dismembered, loose, in a Pyrex container. Please explain why. There's no cable on the
Maybe I'll
microphone.
get a chance. Well, I was going to plug this one in, but now we're doing the interview. I was going to pour club soda on the microphone.
You could use the cable from this microphone if it reaches all the way over, well, but it won't.
No.
You'll have to do it after the interview.
Yeah.
Please continue.
We'll now continue our exclusive interview with the weatherman. Now, it's been suggested that money had something to do with the Helzer brothers' killing spree. Can you verify this?
No, he never talked about that at all. He was just I would call him a sweet, gentle person.
Well, I understand that Justin told you he loved you on at least one occasion. Is this true?
I think just once. And that was probably like less than a month before all this happened.
What exactly were the circumstances?
The circumstances about what?
When he was telling you he loved you.
In the parking lot at AT&T. How about that? About 8:45 in the morning.
This was in the back of the Monarch, or?
Don't be daft. It was in the parking lot.
Well,
everybody was looking.
Have you considered that Justin may have suspected you had quite a nest egg built up, and you might have represented the next victim for Justin and his brother to extort and/or kill?
I don't think so. We never got that far.
All right.
Obviously not. You're still here today.
Yep, I'm
totally
here.
Redundant thing to say.
Absolutely.
Well, it looks like Bud is back, and I think we're going to take a call or two. So if you'd like to talk to the weatherman and find out any additional information, pick up your phone and give him a call at
rather just drink
510-848-4425. I'm going to give it back to you, Bud, and of course we're all here, meaning Mr. Camping and myself, and we'll gladly jump in at any time.
Well, thank you, Pastor Dick and weatherman, and gee, I missed that interview entirely. I was out having a cigarette. What was that all about?
A murderer said he loves David in the parking lot of AT&T.
And
that's about the.
Did you talk about how they shared goth CDs? Did you mention that?
In the back of the Monarch.
Will you stop talking about the damn Monarch?
But you can tell us more about this, please. Was Justin Helzer the killer listening to death metal CD?
And is he listening tonight in prison?
How do I know?
I
don't know much of anything.
That. Well, if he ever gets out, weatherman, I'd watch out if I were you.
I just want my Phantasm CD back, okay?
The weatherman says he has considered that Justin may have suspected that he had quite a nest egg built up, and that he might have been the next victim.
Who has that CD now, weatherman? Is it the police?
Probably.
That's in police custody, that CD.
Probably.
Well, have you asked for it back?
Yeah, I tried to talk to somebody that knew people down at the jail.
That's no good. You've got to go down there to the jail.
We'll drive down there after this.
Oh, come on, weatherman. You've got to go in there and demand to get your evidence back.
Be a man. Go in.
I'll just order one off the internet.
In advance of the murders, you're saying you lent this CD to the man who is accused of these murders. Is that correct?
Yeah, just before it happened.
I will refresh the listener's memory that film is about a gang of some sort of Satan worshippers who are taking people in a cemetery, making them slaves to serve them in hell. You gave a soundtrack of this nature to this man in advance of the murders. Now, have you considered that?
Did.
Have the police ever spoken to you about the connection between that work and their work?
I don't think so, although I did bring it up when they called me, but they didn't bring it up.
What did they ask you when they called?
They just wanted to ask me how friendly I was with him.
And what did you say?
I said I thought we were pretty close friends when we're on the job. You know.
Said he loved you in the parking lot.
Did you withhold this information about the parking lot incident?
I don't know. They may have asked me about that. Well, why are you calling it?
I don't recall is a term often used by witnesses under duress, weatherman, but it's not going to work here. You know damn well what's going on.
You even apparently influenced the man with the choice of this music that we are discussing tonight on the show.
I don't think
the very
soundtrack
incident
of Phantasm has anything to do with it.
Well, then that devalues everything we've discussed here on the program.
I think it's completely different.
Well, it's a sad day indeed, weatherman. Well, I guess that's about it for
that brings it to pretty much.
That's it for the news, and I want to thank all of you for listening in. And we were going to take some calls.
Thank you, callers, for filling up the line.
Should we take calls?
I think we could.
All right. Cut that, and let's go to our first call here on the Pastor Dick News Hour.
I love you, weatherman.
Oh, knock that off.
Oh, come on. The parking lot, we already heard that one.
The Monarch's right outside if you want to come down.
All right, that's enough of that.
The weatherman said what the setting was, but not the context for the murderer saying that he loved him.
I have to come to the weatherman's defense here and remove the tarnishing spin that Mr. Camping has placed on the weatherman.
Yeah.
There we go.
How are you going to do that, sir? The evidence is in.
Well, you said that the movie Phantasm was about a satanic cult who pulls in people into their dark realm. In fact, the movie is about a bunch of good-natured heroes who destroy the satanic cult.
I would dispute that.
Right.
I've not seen the film myself, but as proved by what we were able to do with The Last Temptation of Christ, you don't need to see the film to know the true meaning behind it. And
well,
you're just a victim of the propaganda machine that made the work.
You know, the Bible has stories of good-natured people defeating and combating evil. So what is the difference here?
Good is good, basically, meaning good things, and then evil is more of a dark kind of a bad.
I mean, in the context of this film that the weatherman allegedly gave this murderer before the murder took place, the film is actually about good conquering evil.
Well, that's your interpretation of the work.
Well, as a matter of fact, I have seen the film, and I can tell you that it is not about the Lord. It's filth.
And in the end, the demon grabs the good doer and drags him through a mirror to his death in hell.
Wait a minute.
I would
Harold,
like to make that clear.
That's not possible.
Is that when he says boy?
He says boy
Yeah.
and grabs him, according to my notes.
Hello.
The good hello.
Yes.
Hello. Would you care to condemn the weatherman or have any other comments? Whatever.
Well, I don't know. I thought he's done pretty good up till now.
Up till now, what happened?
What happened?
Well, just from past incidences that we've seen.
What are you getting at?
Could you be more specific?
Well, in past incidences and occurrences that have happened before.
You know,
Which instances are you referring to?
He said Justin.
Well, justice instances.
No, Justin.
Justice instances.
All right, that's better.
Well, just in what instances?
No, the justice instances.
I don't think you're really doing this. Thank you.
Excuse me.
Next call, please.
Shall we take our next call, please?
We don't have another call. That number is 510-848-4425, and there's our next call.
I think the weatherman could acquit himself quite nicely from the charges that you brought up.
I wish he would quit himself, but he just won't.
I think he could do that by demonstrating the sound of soda being poured into.
Oh, come on now.
I have to take this microphone off and plug it into the other one that I have in the plastic bag. Do you want me to do that?
Yeah, I think this is a good time to do that because that would demonstrate your innocence in this case.
Meanwhile, good hello, you two are on the...
No, they're not. There you go again.
Hello.
A good hello.
Hi, good hello.
Very good hello.
You're the first non-male.
Notice how everything perks up when we get a
Listen
female.
to that.
Everybody's happy now.
This is a question for Pastor Dick.
Yes.
Pastor Dick, I've been listening to you tonight, and I'm very impressed with your knowledge of the Bible. And I wanted to tell you also that I used to listen to
Club Soda.
Mr. Dr. Mr. whoever
Camping, Harold Camping.
Yes.
The spin tarnisher, as we call him.
And
That's the only way you can listen to him.
also, all my children used to listen to him, but I have ceased listening to him because
He's just too old.
and senile.
Yeah.
And I really, I can remember when my son Mark even called him. And he said, Mr. Camping, and started to debate. And Mr. Camping cut him off several times.
That's
so
terrible.
that's one of the reasons we have stopped listening. But the second most important reason we stopped was because my own mother bought his book, 1994.
Well, that's wonderful.
Well, Mr. Camping, I know you're listening, but
I didn't hear what you said earlier.
Pastor Dick. My own mother bought the book, and she believed what he was writing about the coming of Jesus in 1994. But when it did not all come to pass, she was rather disillusioned, and she stopped listening to him also.
Well, did your mother actually wait until New Year's Eve 1995 before she came to that conclusion?
She was convinced.
She knew it would happen.
Well, my friend, if your mother had heeded the advice written in the book, she would know that the absence of the actual occurrence on that date in 1994 merely reinforced that it will come, because the devotion to the Word is more important than the prediction that occurred at that time. She did not remain devoted, and therefore was clearly not going to be saved on that day, nor will she be saved at any day in the future when the rest of us, those who read my words, will be.
Mr. Camping has a history of cutting off this good woman's son, and I think that implicates him in this murder case.
I resent that, sir, and shall we take our next call?
Good hello.
Yes. Can you tell me, was the weatherman ever indicted in anything?
Well, he was interrogated, that's for sure, and I think if we can glean anything from that, he's probably guilty of something or other.
If you could see what he's doing to KPFA station gear at this moment with a microphone submerged.
But were drugs involved or anything?
All right, don't ruin it.
Well, I would say there was a great deal of club soda consumed.
I can't drink it once it's in this thing. You wasted half of it.
Weatherman.
No.
I just heard something about indicted, and the weatherman, I hadn't heard him say anything about that before.
Well, he was out of circulation for a while, and
Pastor Dick?
Was he given any kind of drugs to kind of keep him sedated or comatose while he was out?
Oh, he doesn't need anyone to give them to him. He has quite a bit on hand most of the time.
Pastor Dick?
Pastor Dick,
well,
I believe you have
we've moved on to our next call, please.
No, please, Pastor Dick.
No,
Let's not cut off this woman as Harold did to her son so many times.
I just had one thing to say. The murderers were right in my neighborhood, 3 houses.
So drugs did have something to do with it then?
Wait a minute, sir. Hang on a moment. This woman lives in the neighborhood of murderers.
Yes, the neighborhood where the murderers took place. And they live. The people who were murdered live 3 houses from me.
Wow. Are you by any chance the neighbor who found the discarded ponytail?
No, I'm not, but it was quite a trauma in this neighborhood.
Well, you know, those people were goth saturated, and people who immerse themselves in that music are
saturated in what?
Goth music.
They listen to quite a bit of goth.
Stop picking on the poor weatherman.
Well, so that did have some drugs to do with it, because I think goth metal does have basics in drugs, or vice versa.
By the way,
have some drugs to do with it.
By the way,
out of the man's
he's
mouth.
not poor. He has quite a bit of money, thank you.
Oh, I'm sure he
He's
does.
quite well off. That monarch is just a hobby.
And were you acquainted with your neighbors, Ivan and Annette Steinman?
Yes, I used to wave to them. They would sit in their little patio chairs on their front porch.
The weatherman wasn't sedated then?
The weatherman wasn't sedated. He sounds a little sedated.
I'm trying to do an experiment here with club soda on this microphone, and they spoiled it.
I'm just sorry it's not TV.
So
hey, don't do that. Don't put Altoids in there.
We're talking about abbreviated club soda then, right?
Or
not abbreviated, but
I've got the
changed or whatever?
Submerged in club soda right now.
Weatherman, didn't you and Justin spend many an evening in your living room
Certainly not.
in club soda debacles of various sorts?
Absolutely not.
Pretzels, all kinds of things going on.
The ponytail was found floating in a tub of club soda, is my notes say here.
I wanted to also.
I want to tell you this is Queefer Sutherland.
Yes, we've been trying to communicate for some time here.
Yes,
Oh, okay.
go ahead, please. Now let this woman ask her question of Pastor
Sure, I'll
Dick.
wait.
I agree with you 100% on the dilatory effects of this death music. My own son has listened to this music for a long time. He'd sit in a state of mind that you just can't get through to him, and his eyes are glazed.
Is he listening tonight?
He's not listening right now.
You should get him up and bring him to the radio.
He should be. I think.
But I think it has a lot to do with the way he became, because he used to just get into this music so intensely, and I used to wonder what this terrible sound was. It's like a awful, god-awful sound coming from the voice of the singers, or whatever you call them.
Well, I think it emanates from your body.
Were you in on the reading of the lyrics earlier in the program by Dale Embry?
Yes, I've been listening to the program since it began. It's been very interesting, and I really agree with Pastor Dick, though, that this music has a lot to do with the way kids turn out.
No, I missed that part.
You really feel that it influences them in terms of actually changing their personality and like that, or do you think other factors come first, and this is just sort of tacked on?
Well, my own son he's changed a lot. His personality has changed a lot since he started listening to that. And I used to question him, what is that music you're listening to? And the names are familiar to me. Those German names. By the way, Du hast is German for you.
Well, I mean, which comes first? Personality bad to begin with, or is it changed by the music?
No, I think that the music had a lot
Wait a minute.
forming his personality.
I want to hear what Du hast
But
we have already translated that on the program.
Don't you think they need to be
something different? I'm sure.
Don't you think
incorrect.
Don't you think that they need to be sort of susceptible to have that happen? I mean, many kids listen to it and they, basically just for fun, and don't become maniacs or anything.
I think it got him into drugs.
And, well, a lot of music does that.
Yeah, I think it really kind of wiped him into it. Just kind of that was the beginning of it. And
poor kid's just going down.
What state is he in now? Was he living at home?
Well, then it makes you kind of wonder if it's nature or nurture, if it's inborn or.
I think the music has a lot of influence.
Nature.
He has become a hermit in his room and just stares into space now.
What do you do to counteract any of this?
Well, I've been trying to show him a lot of Christian love, and.
Are you from Arkansas?
No, do I sound like it?
I may recommend
I think
ma'am.
The problem is, I often see this, is that the kids who go bad under the influence of this music are often from Christian families. Now, I don't want to say there's some connection there, some sort of yin-yang, pro-con automatic connection. If you grow up Christian, you tend to react to it in the most violent possible way. But it does seem to happen a lot.
You mean it comes from Christian families?
Yeah, I think in a sense, yes, I see that a lot.
So if you're Christian, you have kind of predilection towards death metal music, where ordinarily you wouldn't have that.
I think, if you'll excuse me, ma'am, that the stupidity of Christianity often has a bad effect on kids when they see the rest of the world is not that stupid. And so they tend to react rather badly to their environment when it's a Christian environment. Because
what you're saying, they feel Christianity is stupid.
Yes, they do.
And so the music just brings that out.
Yes, it expresses that for them in a most, and of course you add to that the natural rebellion of teenagers to their parents and authority and all that, rules. And then if you throw Christianity on top of that, it is such a silly superstition that people who become educated in the modern world and to science and all the other things that make it look silly tend to go to an extreme, the opposite extreme, which would be.
So it's kind of that good girl gone bad sort of thing.
Yeah, it's like Catholic girls are when they go bad, they're the worst. You know,
they just go nuts.
Well, it's been my experience as a pastor and youth leader, and I certainly don't want to insult our caller here. Is that those kids from Christian homes who go bad later in life are generally from Christian homes where the parents do not abide by the teachings of the church and of God's Word.
Yeah, okay.
Well,
I would also like to recommend to the fine young lady that she investigate a compact disc for her son on Nineveh Records. It's called Hermit in His Room.
What was the name of it?
Hermit in His Room.
Hermit in His Room.
And the His is capitalized.
So
I know you mentioned them earlier, but we do have the rewritten, translated version, I think because of the situation your son is in. He may find the record very enriching. You may be able to lure him out of his room. So
let me ask you, ma'am, what kind of music do you like?
Well, I enjoy Candle, the Christian music station.
Mm-hmm. See, this is what I'm saying.
I enjoy other music too. I love.
Well, now is the opposite true?
I love classical music.
Well, what I would suggest as a tactic here is to actually do it the Asian way. You know, they didn't know anything about Christianity until we brought it to them. They have a philosophy of when you're up against an obstacle or an opposing force, you go with it instead of against it. This is the essence of the Asian martial arts. And I might suggest that you actually try to go into his room when he's in there staring at the wall and sit down and listen with him and talk about the music and see if you can find anything in it that you won't, but you could pretend.
I agree. I think that parents should get involved with the kind of music the kids listen to and at least try to understand it.
Were you ever into rock and roll in general?
Oh, sure, when I was a teen.
Right. Weren't your parents rather a little bit perturbed at that, if they were Christian parents?
Yeah, well, I think they actually enjoyed it.
Well, it was a lot nicer.
But I'm sure some of it was rude to them.
Yes.
You know.
About what year was is this we're talking about? When were you in high school?
In the 50s.
In the 1950s.
Right.
So you were listening to Elvis Presley and
which was very shocking in its time.
Paul Anka.
Yeah.
Very outrageous in its time.
And it was outrageous to the parents, I'm sure.
Yes.
But, you know, for the kids, it was generally
all I'm saying is that part of his attraction to this music is that you hate it. I mean, that's as simple as that. It's like really how to be opposed. It's how to be opposed. So if you acted like you didn't hate it, perhaps that would have
psychology.
Exactly. Perhaps it would have some effect. And he would not find it so intriguing if he thought that you were into it too.
Oh, I agree.
So in other words, you have to ask to borrow some of his CDs, start playing it in the living room while you're doing the housework.
How old is your son, by the way?
I'm not kidding. You'll soon see.
20.
You'll soon see he'll gravitate towards other stuff.
You had your son very late in life. If you were in high school in the 1950s, then you must be at least 60 years old.
I was very young at the time.
Well,
if you were in high school, that pretty much.
I was about 3 years younger than the people in my class.
Okay, so you're at least 58 then.
You're smart too.
Well, you are smart yourself. You figured it out perfectly.
And you are still to this day a devout Christian.
Terrific mathematics. Yes, I am.
And what denomination?
Well, I'm an Adventist.
An Adventist. I don't even know what that is. Pastor Dick, what is an Adventist?
Well, an Adventist is somebody who believes that they should worship the Lord on the seventh day. They attend church on Saturday. Now, this is an excellent clue. And I do happen to know of many Adventist children who feel alienated from their peers because they're attending church on Saturday, which is fairly odd in our society.
It is odd, but you know, Jesus himself was odd, wasn't he? He was the odd one.
I don't know. Is that what what Adventists say when their day of worship is questioned?
If you're comparing, you know, the oddness of the day of worship, which he actually instituted, because he was with God.
According to the beliefs of your church.
He was with, no, this is according to the Bible.
I see. Well, then why is there such a small percentage? There's so very few Adventists in the world.
I don't think that's because people believe it.
I should answer that with a question. Why were there such a small percentage on the ark?
I don't understand the question.
Noah's Ark.
We know what ark you mean, ma'am.
The Noah's Ark of the Bible. There were only 8 human beings.
Did that sail on a Saturday, or what does that have to do with it?
I'm not following your logic here.
Okay.
Let's please stick to the subject at hand.
And how did he get all those animals on there? Come on.
No, if you're saying if a small percentage of people who worship on Saturday, which was also according to the 4th commandment that we should worship on Saturday. This is one of the many debates I've had with Mr. Camden.
Right, and I don't think this is the time or the place for the day, because we are talking about your son, and we could probably go on for the next half hour until the show's over.
I'm still interested in this ark.
I love this debate.
What is that? Did the Noah's Ark have something to do with death metal, or?
No, I think you guys got off the subject there. But
Noah was in a death metal band?
We were talking about my son, and also you didn't let me finish about what the meaning of Duhast is.
Oh, but by the way, you know, there are many species of animals in Australia which are unique to Australia and exist nowhere else in the world, so...
That's true.
So, I mean, don't you ever question things like him saving...
Did he ever go into any kind of chat rooms or anything like that?
Noah saving all the wildlife when obviously there was some he didn't have any access to.
Oh, he probably saved the unicorn.
You know, a lot of that stuff started in chat rooms, that death metal
Probably saved the dodo bird, which is now extinct also. The unicorn is extinct, the dodo bird. All these animals...
A bunch of perverts and stuff.
You know, there were many...
Well, the perversion began actually after the ark went aground, and this is, you can read about this in Genesis when
the millions
Noah's son Ham actually got Noah drunk and touched him.
Right.
What about the millions of species of insects?
Oh.
What, on the ark?
Yes.
I believe they could have all been on the ark.
How? How could anyone catch them?
The wall space.
How could anyone catch them?
Think of all the... Well, see, that's just it. No one had to catch them. They came voluntarily to the ark.
Oh. This is true. God sent them to the ark.
Yeah.
My goodness, we've gone...
This is very much off the topic.
Okay, I'm back. What about the
I'm very concerned about the caller's son.
Do you all want to know what Duhast means?
Please.
We've already gone over it, but please.
Simple. It's so simple. It just means you have.
No, ma'am, it does not.
Wait a minute. Justin
Makes sense.
sure didn't. He
is
seems
in
to
Spanish.
think it meant something about hate.
It's Duhast. It's H-A-S-T.
Yeah.
That's German, I think, isn't it?
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's German. But
It's nothing to do with hate.
Well, I'm not sure of the word for hate in German, but H-A-S-T is have. You have.
Somebody else told me that too.
Okay.
So you have would be the name.
Yeah.
Okay.
And who heard that it was the word hate?
This Justin character I knew.
Oh.
This is the serial murder that
Justin, right?
we've been talking about.
Killed famous guitar player Elvin Bishop.
He was pretty dumb, I guess.
He was just misinterpreting the whole thing, you know. So it just means
What a shame.
you have, that's all it means.
That makes me feel better.
If he could have known.
Well, thank you for calling and sharing, and shall we take our bird?
Yes, ma'am, may I say that you are extremely good-natured and open-minded, and I wish you well.
Yeah, I don't think I could have shared
Are
this
you
about
still living in Concord?
For a Christian, that is.
Still living in Concord. Still living in the same neighborhood.
Thank you, and good luck with your son.
We'll have to get you some digital cable.
Oh, thanks. Okay.
Bye.
Thanks a lot.
Cool. I know of suspects just waiting to be rounded up. Pastor Dick?
Is this Noah's Ark again?
You're on the air. May I help you, please?
Yes, Pastor. I have knowledge which may be useful in the aforementioned and all other crimes.
All right.
Did they involve Pastor Dick?
Well, they involve anybody who's in authority who people wish to come to. You see, these suspects are not to be hunted down. They, rather than being hunted down, seek out the people in authority. They often bring details that only people who know of such cases would have knowledge of.
You're not making sense.
This isn't really holding water, my friend.
I speak of those psychics, those people that claim to know details of the case, and they often come in to try to divine through supernatural means or something.
Well, he had better read Deuteronomy 28 again.
Mr. Camper or Pastor Dick or
Camping.
Those people who actually claim to be psychics, they are the killers. They're the ones who should be locked up, because if anybody else who had intimate knowledge of a case would be treated like a suspect, why the heck aren't they? I ask you this, sir.
Well, they had better read Matthew 13, Mark 9, Matthew 25, where Jesus says things like
13, 9, 25.
Matthew 13, 9, and 25, where Jesus says things like, there shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth, and their worm dieth not.
Sir, are you in possession of a King James Bible right now?
Yes, I am.
I wish for you to look up and read a very short verse, Isaiah 36:12.
Isaiah 36:12. Give me one moment to find that, sir.
Yes, sir. It is a very short.
That's one of my favorite parts of the Bible.
Telling verse. If you put it the King James Version indeed he carries, then the message will be as intended.
Arise, go into Nineveh, that great city, and preach it unto it the preaching that I bid thee. So Jonah arose and went into Nineveh, according to the word of the Lord. Where's the relevance to that?
That's not Isaiah 36:12.
Yes, it is. I'm looking at my Bible right now, and if I'm
looking at it with him, and it is.
Thank you.
I'm going to get my Bible and read what it says.
Your Bible's different from his Bible?
My Bible is identical to the chosen word of God.
Well, I thought they were all chosen words of God.
They have the direct binary code of every question that can possibly be asked, hidden in its pages.
And I'm going to drink some more club soda. Is that okay with everybody?
That's fine, Weatherman. You go right for it.
We won't talk about the water that was trapped inside the plastic.
Never mind about that. Everything's under control.
I saw it happen. It was not as under control as our listeners may think.
Let's take
science experiment gone awry.
Let's take one more call.
One more call.
One more call. Goodbye, left-hand caller.
Shall we take our last caller,
Stay in
please?
the neighborhood where the murders took place here. And the reason, I'm actually the neighbor, I live 2 doors down from that lady.
Did you find the discarded ponytail,
I
sir?
did indeed. And
You're the one.
When he cut off his ponytail, and the reason he had to use 2 knives is he was quite a rush. The first knife that he grabbed was a butter knife.
Oh, well, that wouldn't have cut it very well.
That showed some degree of confusion. And I was able to save one of the hairs from the ponytail. And I was going to list this on eBay for sale, but I have decided to offer it to listeners of this program. The highest bidder over $5,000 will
Well,
take home that hair.
I would say...
Well, if you're so smart, what's the name of the person that had the ponytail?
That was Justin.
I got you. You're wrong.
It was Glenn.
Yeah.
I think the weatherman is breathing through club soda a little bit too much.
Well, I was all ready to offer for the caller to auction it off live in person at the Chopping Channel
Seems that it was a
program
red herring.
at the DNA Lounge on August 2nd, I believe it is. Is that right there? Well, anyway, but it's not going to happen. We'll chop another ponytail off.
Harold, I just had to sign a paper and bring it back to the station tonight saying I would not, that we cannot promo anything we have a financial interest in.
Well, can I promo it?
So, therefore, the fact that the Chopping Channel is going to play at the DNA Club on August 2nd,
we can't mention
that can't be mentioned because we are doing it for profit.
Right.
And
we don't have to mention the $12 cover charge.
And that's that. We don't know what it's going to cost, and we don't care because we can't even mention it. The fact that the Chopping Channel will be playing live at the DNA, the brand new, revamped, under new management DNA Club.
Correct, where several members of Negativland will be performing as the Chopping Channel in an expanded group.
But
we can't discuss that.
No, we can't talk about that because recognize this, weatherman?
Somebody that fly.
That's pretty good. I did that. When did I make that? A couple of years ago.
Yeah.
The weatherman, but he doesn't even know which way the wind blows.
This is when he stuck a microphone in a bee's nest.
Actually, it was Yellow Jackets. They came right at me. They tried to dive bomb me. In fact, they stung the microphone. If you listen close, you'll hear the little stingers going right into the little condenser microphone. Just stuck it right in the little hole where the Yellow Jackets lived.
Well, thank you for calling and sharing, and we may have time for one more call. 848-4425 and the 510 area code. Speak to the weatherman or Mr. Santo or myself, Harold Camping. And there's the call now. It's the left-handed call. And if my engineer will reach for the button, we'll take our next call, our last call, please. Welcome to the open discussion.
Rabshakeh said, hath my master sent me to thy master, and to thee to speak these words? Hath he not sent me to the men that sit upon the wall, that they may eat their own dung and drink their own piss with you?
Please.
Isaiah 36:12, word per word.
No, that is a blasphemous,
that is not biblical.
Blasphemous and offensive rewrite of the real sentence, which is, in those days I, Daniel, was mourning 3 full weeks. I ate no pleasant bread, and neither came flesh nor wine in my mouth. That is the correct word.
I think our caller is reading from the reverse vision.
You will burn in hell for lying about the Bible.
I'm afraid it is you, sir, that would placing words into his mouth.
The Word of God was behind it. The Bible is the biggest journal document. And again, God is sending a plague around in response to this
anguish, yells about blackness of death, bottomless pit, burn, condemn, curse, damnation, dark.
And just as a note of historical reference, we could say that death metal and black metal go back to, what would you say, Sando, the 60s?
At least the 60s. But Black Sabbath probably is the earliest. And then we have King Crimson, were kind of another big influence, I think, on these bands.
And here's an example right now. This Black Sabbath from what year?
Oh, maybe 72. 70.
Precursors, right here.
I have to sit in the same studio long.
Well, this far I've understood every single word.
That much can be said, that is about all.
Do I murder you now or later? Now or later.
Chief, do any of you, hold your tongue, do any of you have any further legal authority, Ralph? Do you? Do you? Yes or no? Yes. What is it? What is it? What legal authority do you have?
He is mine.
your fire as yesterday. Now that it is past, was a walk of the night. You make an end of them in their sleep. The next morning they are like the changing grass, which is on. Pity on us and bless us. May you let his face shine upon us. May your way be known upon us.
Gina seems to switch uncontrollably between personalities.
His face to our Lord Jesus Christ. He poured out his life for man. His face to the Holy Spirit who through the blessed apostle Peter. For you experience the fires of hell. Zion, leave now. In the name of Jesus Christ, to command any of the spirits that are present in Gina to speak out now and reveal themselves. Linger up to go now. The thought compels you. The spirit of lust. That spirit of lust must leave Gina. I command you to depart now, to leave our sister alone forever, and never to return to her or to anyone else on this earth. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
All right, Pastor Dick, we're ready now for our next feature here on the Black Death Debate. You're going to speak about the Christian side of metal music.
Well, that was your idea. I didn't intend to bring it up tonight.
Oh, no, it was your idea.
No,
oh, Pastor Dick, no, it was your idea. Oh, no, it was your idea, Pastor Dick.
Well,
now,
you know you have just 7 minutes left, and you can say about anything you'd like and get away with it.
Well, if I were you,
I
would hurry up then.
Well, let's see. Where was I? Well, anyway, the question was brought up while I was off the air that just about Christian death metal, that there are Christian bookstores that are now selling Christian death metal, and apparently it does exist, but in my opinion, no death metal has anything to do with Christianity. The whole idea is completely ridiculous. If we can have such a thing as Christian death metal, we might as well have Christian homosexual bars or Christian X-rated movies or Christian brothels, for that matter. They're just some things that were never meant to be Christian, and death metal is one of them, so far as I'm concerned. There's nothing at all Christian about the Christian death metal.
That's a bit of an oxymoron.
I actually like to share some opinions that others have written about Christian death metal. Now I want you to listen carefully to this. Here's one opinion. Most of these bands are created by record labels just for the purpose of getting Christian youth groups to sell the CDs or recommend them. These are the same labels that manufacture the boy bands and other young desirables for the teen masses, such as Britney Spears and then 98 Degrees. Both are manufactured, and they sell them for the sex appeal of the band members as much as the music itself. It's all money-making scheme for the sheeple. Here's another comment. This is beyond hypocrisy. Metal is not God's tool and will never be. It evokes anger or lust, thus making the term Christian metal self-contradictory and oxymoronic. Anyone who would have you believe otherwise is either a bad liar or a great fool. Now, where do you think I got these quotes? Do you think I got them out of Campus Life magazine? If you do, guess again. It's from the First Church of Satan message board on the internet. Even the Satanists know that Christian death metal is a joke. Unfortunately, it's a very unfunny one that is putting Christian young people at risk. As you know, or you may have heard earlier in the show, we had Dale Embry with us to read some secular death metal lyrics. Just quickly before we go, Dale is going to be back to read some additional lyrics. These are Christian death metal lyrics, as a matter of fact, and the title is Hemorrhage of Hatred. Now, how is that for a Christian song? It's a far cry from Trust and Obey.
Would you please play Dale's music, Mr. Engineer?
Yes, and once again, in order to counter the message, we are going to play some of God's music in the background.
Okay. Go ahead, Dale. Hemorrhage of hatred. If prolonged hatred breeds, it will devour your mind. Animosity will annihilate sobriety. Pardon me, Dale? Oh, insalubrious. Insalubrious emotions can extirpate your existence. Agonized respiration, immersion in hatred. Internal hemorrhage of hatred. Exudation of hatred from within. Internal hemorrhage of hatred. Spreading writhing mass of vermicular sin. Well, there you are. Thank you, Dale. Those are some Christian, supposedly Christian lyrics from the Christian death metal scene.
That's one of the more amusing things I've heard.
Well, in my day, we used to sing, "If you're happy and you know it, say amen." So it's just gives you some idea of where things have gone since then. But I guess it's okay if you can have CDs in the Christian bookstore with blood slathered all over the cover, as long as you say that it's the blood of Christ.
Well, we're coming close to the end of our program.
Can we go now?
And
thank Pastor Dick and Harold Camping, the weatherman, and Santo Gold for being here tonight on Over the Edge for the Black Death debate.
Thank you, Bob.
Join us again next week on Over the Edge, and we'll have something entirely different. Stay tuned for the Puzzling Evidence Show. This is KPFA, KPFB in Berkeley, KFCF in Fresno.
To create is divine. To reproduce is human. Man Ray.
Operator leaving the line.